I don't know if it's posted yet. Now it's posted. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Overdose 12. I forgot the number for a second. I'm going to do intros really quick, because you should know us by now. I'm just kidding. Tim, who is sucking his own dick. Me, Surf, Sean, who is also sucking his own dick. You just can't see it. It's really tiny. Jim's Nerd Nation, and the lovely SurfWife. Hello, SurfWife.
Hello.
I wish I had the Google effects ready for the applause, but I don't. So what's going on, guys? What's happening? What are we talking about?
I'm just happy that you stuttered on the Overdose 12, which means that to us it's such a big number now, because realistically, did any of us think that we were going to get past 3 or 4? I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, what?
Fuck my life. Okay, better.
FML.
I do that every week where I have the other tab open and then it starts playing a second time and it freaks my nut. But yeah, when I was posting the link in all the different social medias, like some of them say Overdose 11, some of them say Overdose 12 because I couldn't figure out which one it was. So I was like, I wonder when I'm going to get to that point where I just don't know what number it is anymore. And that time has come. So, briefly after double digits.
And if Google hadn't fucked us, I think we'd be on like 14 and a half-ish. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was a couple weeks.
Yep.
A couple of
Drink check. What's everyone drinking?
Mid-season break is what it was.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a 312 tonight. Chicago style.
312, bitches.
Who's drinking what? Anyone drink anything interesting?
I have stuff, but I gotta eat my pizza first with some Coke. I don't like to mix beer and pizza. It gets weird.
It should be good.
I was gonna say that those words are almost like synonymous with one another.
It's like pizza and Coke,
it's like
or like
peanut
pizza
butter
and beer.
and jelly, like toilet paper in your ass. It's just
Yeah,
things
exactly.
that go together.
I want a bidet, by the way. I would really like a bidet.
If I had room in
Bless
my
you.
bathroom, I would have one. Just
They
not
have them
enough
in
room.
Europe a lot, don't they?
Yeah, when we went to Egypt,
think.
like every hotel had one, and I was like 12, so I was afraid of it. But now I would love one. I mean, I haven't experienced one in my adult life, but I can imagine the sensation, and I'm like, okay, I can get down with a really clean asshole.
It's got to be wonderful, I used to always love when, you know, Dan, when whenever he'd talk about, whatever after drinking and a night at Taco Bell and drinking the next day, he's like, and sometimes you just got to get a wet wipe in there to cool it off. It's like, and he'd get real into it.
The wet and white, man.
And like you were disgusted, but at the same time you were like, you know what? Like,
Intrigued.
You were intrigued, and you were also like you identified with it because we've all been there. You know what I mean? You're just like, who doesn't want a cool, soothing feeling on their
I
ass,
had like a solid 3 years of itchy asshole. There's nothing.
Oh, my Lord.
It didn't,
Wow.
no, and it
This is a
started
great
when
start to Overdose, you guys.
It is.
Preparation.
Like I said, there's not high expectations here. But I was working at a restaurant, and you're fucking on the go all the time. You got some duck butter between your butt cheeks, and it got to the point where it was so distracting, and I felt like I was digging my ass every 2 seconds, and I was like, one, this can't be healthy, like can't be kosher, and two, like I can't perform my job function. So I discovered the wet and wipe, and it's great. It's the best thing in the world.
And it seems to happen a lot too. Like at least for me, it doesn't happen to me anymore now that I've lost some weight and then I'm in a little better shape. So I think it's just in general, just at least for me, being a little heavier, maybe just sweating a little bit easier or something like that. It seemed like I always had that not so fresh feeling, and now I'm good.
It goes away, and I do believe it has to do with diet
too.
too. Because now that I'm eating a lot less Taco Bell and shit, it's like there's no
That probably.
weird
Yeah,
shit coming out of your ass.
Dry. That's what I used to do after Taco Bell.
Would you what?
You gotta do dry, wet, dry, TP.
dry, wet, dry.
That's like 2 more steps that I'm willing
baby powder
to do.
on that.
You do dry,
Baby
realize it's
powder.
not working out.
Yeah.
You do wet, and
Well,
you
that
do
sounds
more
like
dry.
that.
What you do for a baby, to absorb the moisture.
I've
That
never
sounds
baby powder
lovely.
in my asshole. That's a
May
good
help.
idea.
And it's fresh
then-
and smells good.
I may do that after the show, or maybe during, depending on how it goes.
Another one is you take a piece of toilet paper and you just roll it up into like a tampon shape, and you just stick it in your ass crack.
Mm-hmm.
You just walk around like that for a little bit.
Or just use a tampon. Why not?
I did that one for years. The only problem with that one is that sometimes it
Falls
would
out
randomly,
sometimes?
It just falls out randomly, and it was so funny because it always
You
be
don't know where it
somewhere,
fell.
and then Carrie would just point it and just be like, it's like your little shit rag or whatever. She's like, I'm not touching that. And I was just like, it's okay, don't worry.
Jimmy used to
Sorry
call
about
them
that.
mice. She'd be like, "Oh, it's a mouse. You need to go pick up the mouse." It's like this like white little pancake with like a little shitty edge on it. Like,
because it would like fray, and it was like so gross. Like you knew where it came from. And it was like, oh my god, I'm not even
I don't
glad I'm not
blame
the
you. I
only
don't
person
expect you to
that's
touch
done
it.
that. That's
Oh, totally. It's just a
fantastic,
human
so.
need, like itchy asshole syndrome. There's probably a medical term for it. I'm sure there is. But
I would think so. I think so.
Hemorrhoids.
but all right. So who's got our first legit topic? So we don't end up talking about itchy assholes for 2 hours.
Yeah.
No, I think we got all that out good.
I say we make SurfWife pick the first one.
Agreed.
Let's see here. What's this airline complaint one? What was that all about?
I don't even know. I haven't seen who picked that one.
That was me.
So tell us,
What's the
Sean. What is this
backstory to
about?
that?
Oh wait, I was supposed to read it. I just pulled random articles off of Yahoo. No, it was a Caribbean airline where a guy was on a flight and he wrote a letter, and the link's in the description. They stopped, I believe, 8 times on 8 different islands. Every time they had to get off the plane, change planes. They had to get patted down, get back on the plane, get off. And it was just, the whole letter's just funny. I mean, the guy's so professional about the whole thing, but he's just ragging about how, they had to get off the plane 6 times, go through security 6 times, wait in the lounge 6 times. And
That's so funny.
How the boat to take him to the island where he was eventually going was already gone for the night. When they got to the
sorry, the
original,
last boat is gone for the night.
we got to the original destination, and all the bars and everything were closed, so there's
So
like
funny.
nothing for him to do.
That is just so
Wow.
funny, dude.
It's like a dark street with like a couple of freaking, just a couple of like
was,
lamps and a freaking dog like howling in the background.
I mean, it was funny. I was reading it probably about 2 hours ago. I was just laughing my ass off. I'm like, I thought it was a real, like a, United or something like that, but it was, what's the name of the airline?
Like Israeli Express or something.
Spirit.
Yeah. No, it's not Spirit.
Spirit.
Fucking Spirit, man.
I'm not gonna be getting confident
Virgin
tickets by
Group?
them soon to Boston.
Oh, LIAT. It's a small airline serving 21 destinations to the Caribbean. So here, I'll read you the letter. Dear LIAT, and this is the CEO posted this and tweeted it, so 3 million people or something read it. Because he thought.
Why did he tweet it? Did he thought it was funny, or
He thought it was funny. It's basically, it says hilarious airline complaint letter catches eye of CEO. It basically says, may I say how considerate it is of you to enable your passengers such an in-depth and thorough tour of the Caribbean. Most other airlines I have traveled on would simply wish to take me from point A to B in rather a hurry. I was intrigued that we were allowed to stop at not a lowly 1 or 2, but a magnificent 6 airports yesterday. And who wants to fly on the same airplane the entire time? We got to change and refuel every step of the way. I particularly enjoyed sampling the security scanners at each and every airport. I find it preposterous that people imagine them all to be the same. As for being patted down by a variety of islanders, well, I feel as I've been hugged by most of the Caribbean already. I also found it unique that this was all done on island time, because I do not like to have time to absorb the atmosphere or various departure lounges. As for our arrival, well, who wants to take a ferry at the end of the flying anyway? I'm glad the boats was long gone by the time we arrived in Tortola last night, and all those noisy bars and restaurants were closed. Thank you, LIAT. I now truly understand why you are the Caribbean airline. P.S. Keep the bag. I never liked it anyway.
Poor guy.
Oh, dude, that is just too fucking rich.
That's gotta be the funniest thing I've heard this week. I mean, it's only
Yeah,
Tuesday, but still.
I thought it was good. It made me chuckle. And the funny part is, I posted it, and I didn't even read the article till today. But I just figured it would be funny. I mean, if a CEO finds something, that's like me, my CEO, all of a sudden, taking a complaint letter and posting it. I mean, I think
Dude, that's so
pretty
funny.
interesting.
That's what I love about social media, though. It's like, and who knows? Like, that could be someone could have made that up or something, possibly. But who even cares? It's just funny. Like, what a good attitude,
Exactly.
It's just so entertaining.
Oh my god, man.
I
That
loved
shit's
it.
funny.
I
I
thought
feel
it
like
was
I've
great.
been hugged by almost everyone in the Caribbean already.
And I've been to the Caribbean, and I'm not going to say the island's beautiful, but the fact is, I mean, if you do not know by now, I'm an avid beer drinker.
Did you mean an alcoholic?
Yeah, but look what I'm drinking. Look what I'm drinking.
I was going to say, I saw water this week. That's good.
I haven't drank since Thursday.
Yeah, dude, you know what?
Oh,
You've
Thursday.
got like a switch with that, though. You'll be like, you know what? Not drinking,
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah,
Like, you
but
just shut it down.
I did. That's why I haven't drank since Thursday, man. I just, like when I was at your house, man, and I was just sitting there, and I'm like, I gotta go. That was
I
it.
was
I was
like-
done.
Yeah.
It out of nowhere. I just like I felt like I was getting sick, and I was watching the Surf Silly songs. I'm sitting there, and like Jim was talking about earlier, I looked like I was 8 feet tall. I start off with 2 beers in my hand. I mean, what is,
It's funny because you're on a stool, and then I put my chair all the way as far down as it could go. So like I look really tiny.
it was just kind of funny. So I'm drinking some more water right now.
Dude, editing that video was a fucking nightmare. By the way, I'm
could
never
imagine.
doing that with you guys again ever.
What
Come
happened?
on now.
What's the behind the scenes then?
I actually think I might release a behind-the-scenes video because there's so much golden footage of us just being drunk and stupid. But the problem is it doesn't make for good surf stupid songs because then it's like it's just all reaction and no substance. Like not that the videos are much substance anyways.
It's
But
like James at the end.
yeah, so
Oh.
the problem with editing that type of thing for me too is that I let the camera go for 30 minutes. I'm used to letting it go for 12 minutes, and like that it doesn't sound like a big difference, but going through 30 minutes of footage is hard because you've got the intro here. Maybe I did an intro 20 minutes in again, or like it's all over the place. So I have to pick and select what I need to cut shit together. So, but I think I will do like a behind the scenes video because it was kind of funny.
What
But-
we did do, dude, you did like 10 intros. We all introed each individual piece. See, I was fucking hammered by that time, and I still remember it. Like the kids the next day when I came home, and they're like, "So what did you do your commentary on with Surf yesterday, Dad?" I'm like, "We'll go home and watch because I don't fucking have a goddamn idea what we even talked about."
Oh,
It's
And
terrible.
I had
no.
I had no idea what we talked about until I came home and watched it. And then when I was watching it, I remembered it. But
Well,
I
that's
didn't-
good.
I had no fucking
Slow it down
idea.
now.
That's another thing. That commentary I had to cut out like 6 minutes of like, just like nonsense because we had too much to drink. So like I like to have some beers and do it, but the editing is more of a pain in the ass as the drunker that we get.
Well, like one time you guys did the Edward 40 hands or whatever on
That was a
Overdose.
downward spiral.
That was a little
The
interesting.
most one of
That was a
that.
low point.
Maybe alcohol, severe alcohol, or large.
Plus,
amounts of
then I
alcohol
lost the
should be
connection. We had to split the show up into 2 different things, and that was such a funny night. Looking
was-
back on it, it wasn't funny at the time, but
It wasn't
Tom
interesting.
laughing in the background.
what's up?
I was
Your
gonna
background?
say, I was gonna say, is Tom laughing in the background of yours? He can hear you.
Oh, I don't think Tom's laughing. He's just got headphones on and he's masturbating.
I was going to say he's masturbating.
He's playing video games.
I
Playing
thought I was
video
seeing
games.
things in the pre-show when I saw him in the background, and then I looked. He wasn't moving for a minute, and I was like, "Does he have a cardboard cutout of Tom? I was like, what the hell is going on here?"
That
And
would
then
be
I saw
fun.
his lips moving. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "He is alive. He's there."
Yeah, Tommy's here.
in the flesh.
But yeah, the Surf Stupid Song thing, back to that really quick. I'm thinking about stopping that series. Or at least doing it intermittently. I don't know if it should be a weekly series.
I thought that you guys were gonna join in with them, and then you guys just like kind of never did unless you cut it out.
No, it was
Because
just supposed. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Surf
James.
wanted just like to record our reactions to what he said, and so then we kind of joined in at times, which he got a little frustrated about.
The
so
problem
we were
was-
supposed to just sit there.
The problem was I didn't articulate exactly what the vision was for it, and probably because I had beers too. So every time that like I would start on a tangent, and then there was not just reactions going on, but everyone jumping in on it. I didn't like the things that were in there were good, but there were no more than like 10 seconds, 15 seconds long, and I like to at least like get on a little tangent with the songs. So that's what like stopped it. It was a lot of choppiness, but that's why I think it'll make a good behind the scenes video. It will. But editing during editing that, I was like, okay, like I like doing Surf Stupid songs just because it's fun to do, but I don't want it to like be not special because then every week it just becomes about like, oh, like I don't want it to become a game of how outrageous can we make it. Like I want it to just be topical, like then it just becomes all about like shit and gonorrhea,
I think Tim's idea was really good, though. I mean, you really should just go and set up shop outside like a Walmart, like a
Yeah.
busy peak time, or like a Jewel, or like a car wash. You know what I mean? Where
I
people
got to
are
do it in
going
the
and gotta
city
get
in like
there
a
and get-
predominantly black neighborhood just to hear all the black ladies be like, what?
That would be
That's-
great, man. You know what I mean? And then getting chased down the street, and you have the camera behind you.
I saw a kid once in the city.
Chasing you.
He had like a little platform, like a little drum platform, and he said like money for college. He was just jamming drums on the street corner in the city. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. Like I'll busker, why not?
That would actually be a good idea. We could go downtown Chicago, and you could go like outside one of the museums or something. You know, especially in the summertime, man. You got thousands of people just passing by those areas, and a lot of times you got, you know, like just the street musicians just hanging out there. But you could be like the street musician, but just doing like the, you know, just singing about like random people that you're seeing on the streets and things like that, and you know, grabbing the attention of passerbys. You know,
I should learn a bunch of Phoebe songs from Friends, like "Smelly Cat" and like just weird off stuff.
That would be golden.
Stupid, drunken, whore. But I would love to get like a small generator and a microphone and just blast that stuff. But yeah,
That would not surprise me.
yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize. I haven't read much of the topic list this week, and I'm really bad with that. Like I want to get better at it. It's just I usually find that like I'm editing videos, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't looked at the topic list of stuff, so I'm not very educated on what we have this week.
Well, there's not a huge topic list. I think there's only 6 topics.
honestly,
I
yeah.
regret to inform you I didn't do one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tim and I sort of accidentally skipped it. I kept meaning to put them up. I had a few different ideas, and I kept meaning to put them up on there, and then I was like, oh, it's Tuesday.
Well, here I wanted to mention this one. The one I posted up was this article I saw on workers forced to work sick, and of course it's a lot of like lower wage jobs that don't have paid time off. But the problem is this survey basically is reporting that like workers feel pressured to work sick, that they would lose their jobs otherwise. I can totally empathize with that because working in retail, I always felt like that. You know, you're gonna take a day off, you're gonna fucking lose your job. But the study showed, they had like some interesting statistic in here. They said that shit. Let's see if I can find it. I'll look around, but they said there was an outbreak of like stomach flu that affected like 800 people that they tracked back to one worker at a Chipotle.
Oh my gosh.
Good
I don't know.
riddance.
I don't know how they did it, but like the study was talking about how
I believe it.
they believe like it was a staggering percentage. It was like 34 or 40% of like the flu that goes around in the year is from people who are working when they shouldn't be. And it's in food service, they say. That's the big problem is food service.
Well, think of how many germs are like on your hands, or like you breathe, or you cough on something. It's just like it's
Right.
airborne. It's
Dude,
everywhere.
I've gone to work so many times less than 100%. In fact, the only thing I ever liked about corporate jobs is that when I came in sick, they were like, you have to go home. You're not going to get the office sick. Go
Because they
home
don't want
now."
everybody getting sick.
But in retail, it's like, too bad. You could be shitting out of your eyes, and it's like, stock that box, bitch. You know, so...
It's like, well, you're on till 5:30, and you get a break at 2:15.
So I don't know. I guess I want to know what you guys thought because I don't have a viable solution in mind. It's not like you can change like the workforce rights overnight or something. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that sort of thing?
I think that a lot of it has. I mean, for one, I don't pressure my people. I tell them, if you're sick, don't fucking come in because you get everybody else sick. It becomes a fucking epidemic. But my point is, I think you're working part time. You're working 12 hours a week. You go in because you fucking need that job, and you need to.
Right.
You can't afford to lose that 4 hours. You're working for a reason. You're working for minimum fucking wage because you need the money. So I think a lot of people do it themselves. You know, like I'll have people come in. I'll say, "You sick? Yeah. You want to go home? No. Like I swear to God, if anyone else gets sick, I'm gonna fire you."
See, I used to say no and shit to my boss too, just because I thought that's what he wanted to hear, and I didn't want to, you know.
Sound lazy.
Oh, hey, Jamie, someone said you're gorgeous
Oh, thank you.
in the comments.
Better watch out.
Any takers? No.
You can, I share. You break it, you buy it, but
You break it, you buy it?
Does that mean that you guys share each other?
yeah, we're swingers big time.
I had Joe on Thursday when Jamie wasn't watching.
And a little bit while she was
likes
watching.
my comment. Is that consent?
She likes my comment. If you want to have sex with me, confirm that with a laugh.
I'm sorry.
Everyone wants to fuck me. But I was okay. Here's a little interesting story about. I don't know.
Everyone wants to fuck you.
It's tacitly related to this, but good old Tommy and I. Let's see if I can. Boop.
Yeah.
There he is. Let's see, he is masturbating. We went to the bar last night and we were just hanging out, and we're sitting there chilling. And we're like in the middle. There's this one group on one side of us, and on the other side of us, there's like this lady smoking a cigarette. And we're just sitting there minding our own business. And the one group to our one side, this chick's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you sent a text message while that girl was giving you a blowjob." And then the other lady on the other side of us is like, "What? A blowjob?" She like coughing smoke out all over the place. So the one group was like, "Hey, yeah, everybody, come, drunk story time." And so we just were like, "Okay." We're like. We were having our own conversation, but we felt like compelled to like turn our chairs and face them. And I thought it was gonna be super awkward. Turns out it was all right, but it was funny to exchange blowjob stories with total strangers. They were talking about the porn eyes. You know, when you're looking at a guy and sucking them at the same time. And I'm like, guys, after 10 years, there's no such thing as porn eyes. It just doesn't happen anymore. On hotel nights, on the night away from the kids, you might get porn eyes. But like when it's Tuesday and little fuckers waking up from a nap and you need a blowy because you're getting anxious, you're not getting porn eyes. You know what I mean?
Nothing more I love than when she looks up.
What you do is you take a picture of her and you put that picture of the porn eyes on her forehead, and then it's like it's staring at you.
Or like you paint them on so when her eyes are closed, looking down, it looks
like Johnny Depp did in that one Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Sitting there with his eyes closed when he opens them.
I would like to get that tattoo just to freak people out. If I could have gotten it in high school, that would have been awesome.
Yep.
But
Joe, did you ever check out the Harlem Struggle video?
No.
What the fuck?
Dude, I never check out any of the videos you suggest to me. They're fucked up.
Dude. You have to see this.
We cannot show it on the podcast.
I think it's better than Shake That Bear.
All right, you can explain it to our viewers if you'd like, but I think it's horrible. I have no idea what
this is about.
Just go on Urban Dictionary and just type in Harlem Struggle, and then it'll kind of depict what happens in the video. Tom saw it.
Yay.
Are you gonna? Or do you want to explain it, or should we move on to a new topic? Because I'm looking through topics now.
Oh, well,
we need something interesting.
I don't really have to explain it. I mean, people can Google it or whatnot, but
isn't it basically just like a figure-4 leg lock while a girl's giving you a blowy?
Yeah. So as the girl's like giving you a blowy or deep throating you, you simply wrap your legs slowly around her, and then you just figure-4. You just like pretty much extend your legs as hard as you can, and then she can't breathe, and it's already down there, and then she just like is choking, and she may or may not pass out, and may or may not cry when she comes to.
Oh my god.
Depends on how long she can hold her breath.
The best part when we watched the video and we were all talking about it, I was with some friends and Tom was included in that. Tom, we were like, well, why wouldn't you just like bite down on it and let him like yelp and like let go? And then a funny comment that Tom's probably never gonna live down is he was like, well, since the the penis is so down far her throat, she can't bite it. I'm like, how do you know that? Anyway,
dude.
Comedy gold.
I am just disgusted and appalled by that commentary.
Oh.
Just now?
Yes.
I think he's being a little sarcastic.
I don't know if you meant like a different commentary, like one on the channel or something.
I like the Tim's description of the position though. That's pretty cool. I've seen a couple of porn videos here or there and on the internet, and I've never seen anything like that. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ on a raft.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
it's good.
You know, I thought was cool. I know you posted. I was going to post the same thing though. Is how the Chicago Blackhawks sent a thank you letter to Boston, the whole city, and the Boston Bruins, thanking them for a great series and for being so open to them and everything. I thought that was really cool. I've never seen that from an organization do that.
Is that what that was about? Where they like did it in like Time Magazine or something like that?
They posted
the Boston Globe or something.
Boston Globe or something like that. Okay. Yeah, they posted. I read the thing. It was a very nice, heartfelt letter. I mean, I fucking hate Boston. If you don't know that by now, but I still thought it was a real nice thing to do.
The only thing I objected to is I thought the letter was nice, but I thought some of it is like
not on a boo-boo.
Well, here's my problem, is I feel like so many people in like the national scene or even the local scene talk about sportsmanship and have no concept of what it really is. People just genuinely fucking hate each other. And then they're like, oh yeah, good game, dickhead, good game, fuck you, good game, So like I felt like the air of the note was about sportsmanship, and it's like, well, that should be implied, that should be expected. Your rival should respect you and should have these things. I mean, it was nice regardless. I just felt like
look at how heated they get on the ice, like they're like literally
and really in any major sport too. So I mean, it was a classy thing that they did, regardless of whether it was meant to have a sarcastic underlying tone and a kind of ha-ha or whatever. But ultimately, Boston and New York, Philadelphia are all cities that are known for just being real dickheads. Just the arrogance, and whatnot, and the just kind of real quick, quick temper, short temper. Just a lot of that East Coast, Northeast mentality.
Like Chicago is much better.
Chicago's not much better, but I'm just saying though that's and a lot of those sports teams, you know, I mean, a lot of them are real dirty teams, you know, or they're considered dirty, you know, just for how some of their players are arrogant, dirty, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, I think it was. I mean, it was a nice thing that they did, and whether it was supposed to be like a little dig at Boston, because who knows? I mean, we'll never know. I mean, maybe they were treated like shit when they were there, and that was just their way of kind of killing them with kindness, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, it was a class act thing to do for, you know, an organization that you know, that honestly it's I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I've never liked about the Chicago Blackhawks and even the Bulls is some of the ownership, you know, and
the ownership always sucks.
Yeah, and I mean, and maybe some of, you know, the attitudes and things have changed over the years, but I just know that, you know, hockey was one of those things that I immediately, you know, kind of got away from maybe 20 years ago or so when I was in high school, and a lot of it was just because the ownership and just sort of the air and the attitude that they presented, you know, towards the players, towards the fans, everything, you know. And so, I mean, like I say, I think it was a classy thing that they did, and, you know, and if it was a haha fuck you, we won, then, you know, so be it.
I didn't mean it that way, like it was a haha fuck you, but yeah. I'm trying to see if I can read it here for you.
Well, even like you were talking about how, you know, the sportsmanship should be implied and everything else, and that's what I was getting at with the teams, that in a lot of cases that really isn't the case. You know, I mean, a lot of times these teams really do truly hate each other, or one of the teams just really is a dirty, hard-nosed team that does everything they can underhanded. You know, they got backup bench players that come in, and, you know, they call them hatchet men. They literally come in and try to injure somebody, or they try to go in to get into a fight to put somebody out. You know,
I want that job. That'd be
What about lacrosse? I think you were the hatchet man.
Hey, we'll throw like $1 million a year. You'd be like fourth string, but when we bring you in, we need you to beat the fuck out of
we're gonna call it a number and a name, and we don't want that person walking. Okay. So
that'd be a good job for our brother Jordan. Game. Neither have I. I would like to go.
I'd like to go though. Yeah.
We should go to a Wolves game, man. It's
pretty entertaining, man. They got a lot of cool stuff going on at those. It's good. I mean, I've taken the kids before, and it's a lot of fun, really. So.
I've never even been to a football game. I've only been to a baseball game.
I've never been to a baseball game. I've only been to a football game.
Hey,
it's like we should be married or something. Here's the letter. It says, "Thank you. An open letter to the Boston Bruins organization and the city of Boston. Hockey is a tough game. As impressed as we were by the strength, talent, and competitive spirit of the Boston Bruins on the ice, we were deeply touched by what happened off the ice. Rarely have we experienced the hospitality you afforded us throughout the playoff series between two incredibly gifted teams. On behalf of the Chicago Blackhawks organization and the entire Wirtz Corporation, we want to personally express our heartfelt appreciation to your city, the Bruins organization, and especially the citizens of Boston for the remarkable welcome you showed our team and the many Chicagoans who visited. From Boston's political leadership to every member of the Bruins organization, from the players to the people on the streets, you demonstrated respect, good sportsmanship, and a genuine love for the great game of hockey. Like the rest of the world, Chicagoans have been reminded in recent days of Boston's strength. Please know we tip our hat to your city's big heart and gracious spirit. You lead by example and have set the bar very high for others to follow."
See, they didn't like mine. Mine was just going to be a picture of me going like this. That's what we should have said. And really, you know what? It could have had me holding the Stanley Cup here and then this here. That would have been awesome.
I was going to interrupt you a couple times during that letter when it said, you know, and you know, from the people on the streets to this and that, you know, the people of Boston, except for that one guy that bumped into Sean at the bar 4.5 years ago.
Exactly. For the douchebag who bumped
on one of his
Sean.
many 3 trips to Boston.
I'm often like intrigued and a little bit puzzled by people who are like, "Touch me, bro. What happened?" Like, really? Like, is that what's going on inside for you? Because, like, there's no ego involved with this trip to the bathroom for me.
Well, the fact is, you know, it's not like I'm a priest or anything. I wasn't wearing a fucking priest outfit, so I wasn't trying to get all up in them. It's just, seriously, it's like, dude's a douche, Boston's a douche, fuck Boston. They lost, we won, they can blow me. Next topic.
Another articulate comment from the one and only
Sean Shank. You've evolved so much in these last 12 episodes of Overdoese.
And I'm not even drinking alcohol today, so...
You know what? We're going to have a reverse episode of Sean Shank where we do a drinking game where we're going to try and make you not swear, and every time you swear, we're going to have shots lined up, and you're going to have to take shots during the commentary.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to be
because I don't do shots.
I know, that'll be even better. It'll be nuts.
He's going to be, like, totally bombed.
We'll do shots of meth.
We'll have to do it, like, on my vacation when I don't have to go to work the next day.
Yeah, or when he can crash at somebody's house.
Yeah, exactly. When I can crash in a street with you know, underneath my car maybe.
All right, so who's got the next topic?
Actually, Sean and I were talking about this in the pre-show, and I wasn't aware that it had come out today. I guess Sean said on the PlayStation Network, and at the end of the week on Xbox Live, the Walking Dead game 400 Days. Sean was talking to me a little bit about it. I had heard and seen some stuff from it at E3 and was pretty excited about it, and to tell you the truth, just kind of forgot about it. I knew it was coming out sometime this summer, but Sean, you were talking to me about it. You said you played it already?
Yeah, it kind of just, I saw yesterday on IGN that they're just like 400 Days has a release date, and I go on the I click on the link and it's like being released tomorrow on PlayStation. It's like Jesus Christ,
convenient.
I mean, I was waiting for him to say like, like the 27th of July or something like that. But I think it was released on PlayStation today. I think it's Steam tomorrow or Thursday, and then Xbox on Friday. Yeah, I beat it. It's a nice, it's setting up for the second season of The Walking Dead. Basically, you have 5 characters, and it kind of shows where they start off over 300 days, and then it leads up to where they all hook up at the end, and how everything is kind of going to lead up into the second season. So it wasn't as long as the episodes 1 through 5. Really.
Now this is the Telltale game, right, Sean?
Yes, this is.
They did the episodic content last year for.
Yes.
Jim just segues right back in.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
No, it is the episodic one, and it's good. Like I said, it's anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes per character, and then at the end they have like a little ending where they're all together. But it's interesting. I think it is. I mean, it's gonna be a nice arc into the new one, and it gives you something to kind of keep the interest instead of waiting like a full year until the next one comes out.
Now, does it have any ties at all in the first season? In the 5 episodes, there was a couple of times where you were introduced, and there was kind of some cross promotion with the characters from the actual show and the comic. Where you ran into what's his name, the Glenn, yeah, I was gonna say the little Asian guy, but yeah, Glenn. He was in it, and they were on Herschel's farm or by it or whatever it was implied or whatever. Is there anything like that in this where there's where it kind of crosses? No. Okay. These are completely new characters that we're gonna see then in the next season.
5 completely new characters that I'm assuming are gonna. I don't. You have to at least have played one of the 5 episodes to be able to play this one, is my understanding.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee you that's Yellow Bus's text message, right?
It is.
No way.
It is.
My phone is muted.
So, like I was saying, yeah, it's new characters, and I don't know how it's going to tie in. What's going to go on with Clementine from the last one, if she ties in with this, but it is going to be, it is focusing so far on the 5 new characters, and I guess we'll see where they take us from there.
Did they show any of the characters from the first season?
No.
Okay. All right.
Was it referenced or anything? Unless I missed it, I mean, it's not like a run and gun game where I can just run through and go. You basically, you have to make your decisions and.
Yeah, it's a little more slower and methodical as opposed to you don't really like you said you don't really run past anything. So I'm trying to say it without spoiling too much from the first season because I know that some people Surf you haven't played it still, right? The Telltale game of Walking Dead?
No, I have not. I would like to, but I
was trying to, when we were talking, I was trying to go spoiler-free on the first, season.
Yeah, I appreciate that, yeah. I still need to fucking play it.
Did you buy the hard copy, Jim?
I didn't buy the hard. I just have the downloadable content. So I mean, which you're always welcome to. I mean, you can just use my gamer tag and log in and just download them on yours. You just have to be logged in as my gamer tag to play. So you're always welcome to do that too. But I mean, I think they're $5 a piece, but or $4 a piece, something like that. And I don't know. They've been on sale a couple of times too, where they're like $2 or something, or $1.60. They're not much really.
For the first season, it's $20. You get 5 episodes. If you buy them separately, it's $5 a piece.
It's $5. Okay, if you buy them separately, that's how I bought them originally.
Microsoft did a while back, 5-6 months ago. They did start by giving the first one for free to kind of get you hooked. So then you still pay. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was going to totally interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. My thoughts are gone. Anyways, they're gone.
Just no, the free. When you said the free thing, my buddy Ben had messaged me the other day, and he's like, "Dude, Fable 3 is free download on Xbox Live today." And I checked it out, and I downloaded Fable 3 for free. And I think they're doing a Halo or something next.
No, it's you know what it is. It's part of that promotion they announced at E3. Basically, what happens is now with the next generations, PlayStation is now having a paid service that's going to be similar to Xbox Live. So Xbox is, in my opinion, is trying to kind of put something out there to say, hey, listen, this is why you're paying your $5 a month. So they have two games a month, I believe, from now until whenever that they're going to release, and you can download for free. And as far as I know, keep them. I saw on the dashboard yesterday some kind of tower defense game, Earth Defense or something it was called. I downloaded it but haven't played it yet, and it says that it's going to be available until the 15th. So I'm assuming that 1st through the 15th there'll be one game, and then the second half of the month there'll be another game. But
yeah, you're exactly right. Because I was reading the other day on IGN, if right now the PlayStation Plus is going to be PlayStation's pay-to-go service when they go with the PlayStation 4. And in the last year since PlayStation Plus launched, when you get PlayStation Plus, they offer 4, 5, 6 free games a year. In the past year, PlayStation Plus, same thing as an Xbox subscription, $50 a year. It was over $1,000 worth of games that they've given away to each individual within the last year. Yeah, they're not brand new games. But I mean...
Yeah, but if it's a game that you missed, or like in my case, like with Xbox, we have a few Xboxes in the house, and like I was saying earlier with Borderlands 2, I may pick up the digital copy that's on sale for $10 so I can play it not on split screen with my son. He can go play up in his room, and I can play in my room on our separate gamer tags in the same game, without me having to buy 2 retail copies at $50 or $60 or whatever, so that... I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, or in Surf's case, you haven't played Fable 3. I mean, I happened to get it.
Yeah,
I haven't. A friend of mine gave it to me a couple years ago, so I had never purchased it, but it's a great game, and I mean, hell, it's
I want to play through it. I'm always really far behind in stuff. Like I was saying before, like I'm playing through the Mass Effect series now, and the only thing that sucks is like I probably, if I work really hard at crunching all my shit together, I could conserve like an hour or 2 hours a day. I could play video games. But I'm really into Mass Effect, and it's like a long game, and the problem is it's really slow-moving. Even the action is really in between, so I can't really use gameplays from it to commentate over because I at least have something going on in the background instead of like, hey, here's like a half hour of dialogue, and then like 5 minutes of being like, pew, pew, pew,
Once you get to the second and third ones, they're a little more upbeat, with a lot more action focused. You know what I mean? I think, and one was great. I mean, in its own right, but I understand what you're saying though. There's a lot of slow spots that you could not really use any of the footage for.
I love all of the. I'm just in love with the game. Like in general, I think it's awesome. But yeah, it doesn't make for good gameplay stuff. So I'm trying to strike a balance between that and like force myself to play other stuff I'm interested in, but like have kind of taken a backseat because I'm really into Mass Effect right now. So I'm trying to get good enough at Skate 3 so I can actually put up gameplays, but I still suck so bad at it. I keep falling off my fucking skateboard. It's actually challenging. It's like I really like the mechanics of the game because I've never been super into skating games, but I think it was for... God, it was probably for N64 now. Maybe it was Xbox. There was a Tony Hawk skate game that I kind of had fallen in love with, and I've played some snowboarding ones too, but usually you find it just gets boring because, you've got like your 360 rotating axis of your person. It's like you automatically grapple onto, rails and shit like that. And I've always just found like after a while it's like, okay, whatever, like cool. But it's the same mechanics. With this, it's actually different. Like how quick and how fast... how quick and how hard you flip your stick for an ollie depends on how much height you get, how much snap he does it with. You can do different combinations, so it's like down and on an angle does a kick flip, down and a circle around does like a 360 pop shove it. So it's actually really complex the way that they did it, and you can't just like lock onto a rail automatically. If you don't get it on, you fucking fall off. So while it's more challenging, it's kind of a turn off at first. It actually makes for like a cool, more skillful game, and it's cool that you can go online and like go into the city, and all of the skaters in the city are like other people online. I think that's cool.
That's pretty cool. There's been a couple of racing games that have done similar things too. That were like that, where you can actually go in, with other people and whatnot that are online at the time and everything.
I remember Burnout did that. Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, Burnout Paradise. That was one of them that I was thinking of. And
I wanted to get into that game, dude. My problem with that game, with Burnout Paradise, is like, okay, so all of the objectives are at like intersections of streetlights, right? So you sign up for this event. Let's say it's one of those long races across the whole map, and it's a big map. If you fail, the race on the other side of the map, you can't just retry the event.
You got to
drive all the fucking way back.
4.5 miles back, and that's
the map system was so poorly done. You couldn't navigate the map well. The icon was too small to see anything. And then when you're actually racing, I think what they should have done in the game, like, is when you're racing, it should automatically block off some things so it's like a steered course, or at least some of it, because it's so ambiguous and just a city and you have to navigate. It's almost impossible to win some of the more advanced races because there's traffic, and then the sound effects, and then you're trying to look at this little blinker on your screen. It's like, turn left. You're like, well, I'm going 120 miles an hour, and there's 3 lefts coming up rapidly. Which left is it? You know, I just felt the game so hard to navigate that, like, I think the goal is to get up to an A-class driver's license. You start like an F. I think I got like to a C-class, and I was like, this game is just, it lost its appeal to me. But it could have been a step in the right direction if they just worked out some of the mechanics, and I hope that for the next Burnout title, if that series goes on, it'll do better, because I fell in love with Burnout 3. Burnout 3 was fucking killer.
Well, I liked that
really
the arcade aspect of it. I liked how it was kind of arcadey.
I did like that, and SurfWife was killer at that game.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
I remember Tim and I sat there for like 3 hours, no, maybe not that long, like an hour and a half, trying to get this time trial. And then SurfWife was like, oh, let me give it a try. And Tim and I were just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It was like on difficult, and she got it on her fucking first try.
Yeah, I did better than both of you.
And it was like, in the game, you could earn like this IndyCar, and the IndyCar was super fast, but it had no handling whatsoever. So doing this time trial was such a bitch, because you do really well, and then you get stuck at like a little wall, and then you couldn't like negotiate out of the turn. But first try, SurfWife was like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, what?
It's funny how that shit works, because a couple years back I picked up that game Pure, I think it was called. It was like it's like a not a dirt bike, but like a ATV racing game.
Oh, okay.
You can do tricks and everything like that, and races. You can find shortcuts, and I mean, it's a really cool game. And my oldest son Jimmy and I were playing it, and that's when our brother Jordan was living with me at the time, and he's not a big gamer. And same thing with my wife. She plays some of the handheld games, but nothing usually, like, she doesn't get into the first-person shooters. She plays like Zelda, things like that, Mario. And it was funny because we were getting stuck on some things, my son and I, and we're the two gamers, I guess you'd say, and Jordan or my wife would go and pick up and get us past a really difficult race or something where you had to get a certain amount of points with tricks or discover some unknown pathway that we had been just blowing by for the last half an hour, you know, while we were retrying this course. And, you know, and I kept going, what the fuck? You guys both don't even play games, you know? So,
I firmly believe part of that comes from, too, is that, like, we, as gamers and having so much experience, we probably overcomplicate, because it's really just a 2D thing. You're going left and right, and there's gas and brake. That's really about the extent. I mean, you can build some skill in drifting and all that stuff, but, like, I'll play Legos with SurfWife, and sometimes it's the most fucking frustrating thing ever. The game is made for a 4-year-old, and I'll be like, honey, you need to fucking, you can't stand on this side of the screen when we're moving over here. I can't.
Well, we argue, like, we argue really badly.
We'll bicker.
Yeah. Oh, I do the same thing. I don't play them anymore because I get angry and I yell, and I don't think, and I always tell my 6-year-old. Then it's not funny anymore.
Then it's like it's not a game
and I always
anymore.
tell my 6-year-old, because he's got a temper problem. I always tell him when I hear him yell or get mad at a game, I say, you got to turn it off. And he says, why? And I said, because it's a game. It's meant to be fun. As soon as it's not fun, we're not playing it anymore. You know.
Right.
So now I just don't play those at all, because, number one, some of the puzzles really are ridiculous. Okay, I consider myself a fairly intelligent person, and some of the puzzles they come up with, I mean, some of them are so simple, they're hard, you know, they're difficult because you overlook them. But there are some of them that I'm looking at going, how the hell does a kid even grasp this and know that you got to hold this one while the other person goes and pulls this one back? You know what I mean? And then, God forbid, you're trying to work with the AI. There's some pretty tricky ones in there, you know.
Dude, it's official. We're now getting to be the older generation who complains about kids' newfangled things,
right?
You know, how do they even know how to do this? Like,
I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
Remember, like, when anytime an older person said they're going back to school, it was to learn the computers. It's like, get a fucking computer and just click around. You'll be good to go in like an hour.
Well, that's like my dad. He wants to learn about, like, social media, like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and he's like, I'm going to get a book on that. I'm like, why don't you just, like, get a Facebook page? Yeah.
It's like they have, like, learn how to use your phone for dummies. Like, what the fuck? Like, just pick up your goddamn phone and,
just
like,
mess around and...
Yeah.
I will say, though, the couple times I've actually taken the time to delve into a manual on something, I'm like, oh, this is really enlightening. I didn't know I could do that.
Well, you learn some new things, because a couple of times when I've been bored and I've actually sat down and read through some instructions or looked up something, you know, I've wound up finding a larger feature set than what I would have figured out just by turning it on and just figuring out the bare minimum of what I needed it for at that moment. Because then I get lazy, I forget about it, and I just don't come back to it. But I've actually discovered some pretty cool things, about some of the gadgets.
I've recently discovered that with my Mac too. Is I was, for editing purposes, I was looking up shortcuts online, because there's all these keyboard shortcuts and shit. And like a typical fucking Apple fashion, they make it like a hipster, like cliche, like niche thing. So like, instead of being able to out of the box open up your computer and have something like a reference somewhere that shows you all these shortcuts, no, you have to go online, because of course it's like even their keyboard commands is like a hidden community. But when you learn all of them, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe my fucking computer can do all these things. I'm like, it's cool because now I'm slowly starting to memorize them. So it's crazy how much faster it makes the editing process go. So
I played through whatchamacallit, the first Dead Island, before I realized that like the guy had a special power if you hit a button that he seriously, I played through the only reason I saw it is because I watched a video online. I'm like, how the fuck did that guy do that?
Exactly. It was like dude, we were playing, it was me and Tom, we were playing Crysis 3 and we just beat the shit out of that game on hard. And so we get to the boss and I'm like, how the fuck do you kill this guy? I had to finally, I was like, whatever, I YouTube it, and like this shit on the ground that you pick up like makes you invincible for like 30 seconds. Didn't know throughout the entire game. And then it's like the boss takes like 15 minutes after that. I was like, we sat there for like an hour like freaking the fuck out. And you go on YouTube, the kid's like, just grab this and then you do this. I'm like, wow.
I've had dumbfounding experience like that with games where you're like, I can't believe I didn't know that this entire time. Thanks.
Yeah, it's funny because Sean at least gets a pass because he didn't know the power existed. I played through that whole game, played the shit out of it with a friend of mine a year or two ago when it came out, and I was aware the power existed, but I would always forget to use it. And it would actually be one of my kids when they were watching me play. They'd be like, "Yeah, you Dad, activate your rage meter or whatever it is, And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I got that." And then it never failed when I'd activate it. Then all of a sudden there'd only be one zombie left, and I'd use it to punch him once in the face, and then everybody'd be dead, and I would just walk around aimlessly for 20 seconds, and
Dude,
waste the power. So.
I had this lazy piece of shit manager at Best Buy, and this is right when Guitar Hero came out. So he would spend, like, I swear to God, 6 hours of his shift, like, just showing off for customers, like playing it. And so, like, I'm a guitar player, so it's actually kind of difficult to mime guitar playing through a game. I thought it would be easy. Turns out it's not that easy. So I'm not doing that well, but I finally get a little groove going. And when your meter fills up, I guess you can, like, lift the guitar. It does a thing. And he'd be, like, standing over my shoulder, like, lift the guitar, do your rock move. I'm like, just fucking fuck off. Like, but it's just so funny to see like these losers that like they feel like a rock star for a second because they're like, oh yeah, AABBBBC, like fucking take 10 minutes to learn how to play a real instrument. It's cool to me if it piques the interest for someone and they learn something about it, they get something out of it. But the problem is, at least I'm bitching about it because of the students that I get in. But everyone plays those games and they think that learning the instruments can be like that game, and it's not. And then they're like miserable and they don't practice, and they make my fucking life miserable because they're not practicing. So that's my beef with that. I think it's cool that it exposes kids to other music, though. I think that's a good thing.
I think a lot of musicians, though, I heard, that similar complaint with the Guitar Hero and the Rock Band series, and I mean, I admittedly know very little about actually playing instruments other than the skin flute, and but a friend of mine in high school that played guitar and whatnot had showed me just a few simple chords and just some different things on fingers, different stretches to do with your fingers, and just different positioning of the hands and stuff. So I mean, I very, very limited basic like 2-lesson knowledge of it, and Guitar Hero for me was completely counterintuitive, to anything that I knew and learned, which was very limited to begin with. So I mean, I definitely understand where musicians are coming from with that.
Yeah, because it's totally
didn't work out.
I've heard mixed things about that. One of my students really likes it, but I haven't played it myself. But,
yeah, a buddy of mine said, and he plays some guitar, and he said that it's actually really, really fun, and I heard very positive things from it. But because I guess it's an actual guitar that you play.
Right, and that you can use your own guitar. It's got the plug-in, whatever.
That's what it was.
But my student was like, "Oh, I learned this song. I learned this song." I'm like, "Oh, great! We spent the entire fucking year learning 2 songs. You learned 3 over the weekend." But no, it's good though because it actually encourages him to play. But I think the problem with like Guitar Hero and all that stuff is that it's really just designed to simulate and mimic it. So It's just the topical part of it. Okay, strumming is like this, so let's have a paddle that goes back and forth.
Right.
And chords are like this, but we'll just have this linear like 4 buttons. And
they're meant to be like party games too, you know. That's why we never got into them, because I think, you know, Rock Band especially, and even Guitar Hero, when you could have, you know, a couple of them plugged in at once, I think it was more meant to be like for social gatherings, you know, colleges and high school parties or whatever, you know, which it was too old to be privy to, plus, you know, by the time they came out. So.
Plus, I've always sworn to this too, like, okay, I've recorded a few albums, and before that, it was like required for me to play to a metronome by my drum teacher. So I grew up in my musical setting playing to a regimented beat, you know, and being a drummer, I have an internal beat clock that's pretty good. I swear, DDR, any of those games where you're sending an electronic signal, whether it's the signal itself or the fact that however they program it, whether they use an algorithm that basically detects the beat or whatever, I can tell you it's not as natural as when you're actually playing with an instrument. It's either too mechanical and too precise, so it's rejecting notes that should be on, or it's under precise. It's one or the other, or a mixture of the two, because, you know, I've gone into studios with producers that, like, producers' biggest nightmares are dealing with drummers who haven't done a lot of studio work because they're not used to playing with a click track. So they play a song with their band for years, whatever, and they come in and they can't do it. I've had producers tell me they've had to turn musicians away from their sessions because they can't pay for any more time because their drummer just can't get it down. I had 2 producers tell me, they're like, you are my favorite drummer I've ever worked with because you fucking nail it the first time. That's not to pat myself on the back. It's just to say I've had a lot of experience with metronomes. So when I play these fucking games and it's like wrong, offbeat, rejected, I'm like, bullshit, dude. Bullshit. It's total cockamamie. It's bullshit.
I'm kind of glad that those games have gone the way of the dodo bird though too, because the one thing that I have been enjoying the last couple of years, and my wife and kids got me into, was some of the dancing games. And honestly, they're goofy, fun. I mean, I don't care if it's Dance Central or Just Dance or whatever. I know one, I think, actually teaches you realistic dance moves that you could use should you ever be out on a dance floor. I don't care about any of that, but just for me, it's actually just fun because we play. It's a family type deal, and we do a little family game night, and those are pretty good. And then certainly too, anything that kind of gets you up and moving. Nowadays, good, man, because our society is based on like sitting in front of a computer screen or looking at a screen. You know what I mean? Whether you're on your phone, on your way to work, or on your way back, or whatever, there's not as much activity that's kind of necessary, and encouraged.
That's the one part I hate about doing YouTube now is like before I spent a good amount of time in front of the computer, anyways, just because of my job, taking care of an older man. He sleeps a lot, so I do a lot of computer work, whatever.
An older man. And
then to come home and spend my free time, aside from the time I spend with my son, to spend it in front of the computer. Sometimes it's like days where I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to look at another social media page or like a screen or just like in general. So yeah, that part of it kind of sucks.
Well,
no, go ahead. I have nothing else to contribute.
I was gonna say the 2 games that I absolutely think everyone should try if they have a Kinect. And the first one is pretty typical. The Fruit Ninja game is badass.
That's awesome.
Tons of fun, man. Good workout, too, man. I was sweating within like 90 seconds.
Yeah, I played for an hour once. I was sore the next day.
Oh, yeah. I believe it, man, because I jammed to Dance Central a couple of times, and the next day I was like, God damn, really? I felt like I had done a heavy workout,
And that's the other thing. So the other one, no homo, but I bought for Christmas, I believe, 2 Christmases ago, I got Black Eyed Peas, and I know how maybe Joe feels about Black Eyed Peas, but Christy loves them. And the thing is that game, even though you kind of like it's the same monotonous Dance Central thing, they go through and they teach you 4 different parts where you learn like 2 moves each, and then at the very end, it does the whole entire dance. So it's like this big choreographed dance, and you have to learn all the moves, and these moves, and each dance uses the different moves.
So doesn't it randomly take screenshots of you two doing it?
Yeah, I mean, there's times to where it happens in Dance Central, a bunch of other games, and a bunch of the Adventure Connect games, but like it'll just randomly be like, oh, solo, and they'll take like random pictures, and Christy will like whip her kid out and flash everyone, and then like I don't really notice because I'm all into it, and then it shows like a picture, and it's like me going like doing a pose, and she's just like flopping it around, or
that's so funny.
Oh my gosh,
like do like like this one time when we were doing Connect Adventures when I first got it, like you're going over this like wave or I think it's a waterfall or something. And there's a picture and it takes a picture. I just like dropped my pants and she just like she didn't notice because I ripped them back up. But then at the very end when they show you the 3 pictures, it's like
it's your wang hanging out.
Tim, there's your balls.
If you guys have never done it either, speaking about that game, Tim, with the taking random pictures and all that,
you can share it online too.
This is an older one. It actually uses the old Xbox Live eye camera, but it's called You're in the Movies. I don't know if you guys have ever played this.
I've heard of that, but I never played it.
You really have to come over sometime. We do family ones, and what you do is basically you play all these different mini games, and say you got 4 people, 6 people, whatever. You put that in at the beginning, and you go and do these different mini games. And one of them may be like you're swatting away at bees coming at you, and another one may be on the TV, you're like on a train and there's robbers coming at you and you got to like kick them off or whatever. But it gets you to do all these different funny poses and motions and faces. At the end of all these various mini games, you have no idea how it's going to be cut together at the end. But at the end, depending on which movie you chose, a sci-fi movie, a romantic comedy, whatever, it puts together like a 3-minute trailer for a movie with you and whoever else was in there, like starring in it. And there may have been, you know, a part where you had to do this contest where you had to make like, you know, some like a screaming face or a yelling face, and it'll take capture shots of that, you know, and then go and add it to this high-pitched screaming sound and put it in and put your face on like this like some like little body of, you know, whatever, this little alien, because it's a sci-fi movie. And it's just really cool to see because you can upload them, you can share them on Facebook and whatever, you know, and of course you can save them as well. But it's really neat because it's had all these different types of movie genres and everything, and I mean, just they're absolutely hysterical because when you're doing the mini games, you have no idea what it's for, how it's going to be used later on. It might be that you're being chased by Godzilla, and later on in the clip when it puts it together, but when you're playing the mini game, you're just doing this thing where you're like on the screen, you're just jumping over these random things that are coming at you, these obstacles, you know. So it's a lot of fun, man, and it's probably a 4 or 5-year-old game now, so I would doubt anybody would pay more than $10 for it. But
that's awesome. I'd like to start doing stuff like that.
Endless fun.
What I like about video games too is you can do a lot of 2-player stuff. Is like, you know, Jamie and I are a lot of times we want to play a game like a board game, but there's only 2 of us. Oh, by the way, SurfWife, Yellow Bus's aunt invited us to learn how to play mahjong with her and Tim's other aunt, Georgia. So if you want to learn how to play mahjong, I'd like to play with the with Tim's aunts.
Just don't bring up to my aunt George, or I guess it's like my aunt G, about how like she got the wrong mahjong set or something. She oh man, it was
funky down here or what?
Oh.
What?
I'm sorry. Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back.
Peace.
It got like really quiet and silent, and then like, I muted it.
Tommy was smoking a bowl.
Damn it, Tom!
Came down. It smells like a skunk down here, guys. What the hell's going on?
Hey,
is somebody going to show me about that social media stuff later on? I wanted to get on that Facebook.
The face page.
Here, let me on that face page on that internet thing.
The face page.
on my face.
Sorry, I just put my headphones back on. You guys all talking shit about me?
No, I was just joking around. I was goofing around about your father-in-law. I was just imitating him, you know. I was like, how come it smells like a skunk down here, sir? When are you going to teach me how to use that internet thing with the face page?
The face page. Face space. So I had a topic in mind, and then
I was reading the topic on the side,
head.
and someone put like, did you sneak that in there, or it says, Tim, do you have that picture of you in the hot tub holding a dog?
I just put that now because you were talking about the picture of you like whipping your dick out, and there's this epic picture in our group of friends of Yellow Bus in a hot tub wearing hot pink shorts, holding a little dog, and everyone's smiling, and he's just pulling his junk out of the shorts.
The funny thing is, I think the girl ended up developing that like string of photos, yes, back in the day, and she like got the picture and was like, wait, what? And then my little dinghy was sticking out, and then she posted on Facebook later, but she took like a beige, like I don't know if she went to paint, but like took beige and like kind of just beiged over it.
That's funny.
I think I remember that.
I don't know where it is now.
Dude, I remember seeing that thing everywhere. It was so funny. Oh man, and you know what I might post about on the channel too is I found that old clip of you freaking out to actually Fruit Ninja.
I was actually going to suggest that. I was going to say
it's such low quality though, but I should still put it up there. You know
That
what?
was still a good clip, though.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh yeah, you guys have seen it. I'll explain to our viewers briefly, but at the end of Fruit Ninja, you can do like this max out on the piece of fruit, like as fast as you can. And I used to always get like, 20, 25 hits. And Yellow Bus is like, oh, dude, that's weak as hell. I got like 80. I'm like, what are you talking about? And the video is just him, like all fours, jumping in the air and kicking his legs and using his legs also. I didn't even think about ususing your legs.
He looked like he had like 4 arms and 6 legs, man.
And all you hear is all the swishing sounds in the game. It's like, it's Super Ninja style, dude. It's really, really funny.
Fuck! God! I kept hitting the bombs at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, good times. That's what I like about party games. Like, my first party game I ever fell in love with, and I think most people here would probably agree, is Mario Party on N64. I think that was like one of the first OG true like party games.
Dude,
tons of fun, man. Tons of fun.
I was going to share a story that we had this weekend when the guys visited. So we go out, right, and we go to the typical bar scene. But they made this new bar called Gringo Star. It's a street bar. And it has all these arcades, like, and it's like RH arcade games, like they have like the old Blitz, they have Duck Hunt, they have like they even have like
they got Ninja Turtles.
They have the Ninja Turtles. I think they have the Simpsons arcade game. But the best part is the second you walk in, like, it's nighttime, so it's not even like a day drinking. Brian wanted to go. And so we go, and we each get like a PBR tall. It's like $2.50, and then the best part was I just look over, and I know there's N64s like lined up on a high top, like 4 high tops on the side when you walk in. I look, and Brian's like, "You want to play?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so we jump on, and we instantly play Smash Bros. And we're like 1-on-1, and we're already kind of drunk. And I'm like, all right, he picks Captain Falcon, which is a bullshit 1-on-1 character. I go with my usual, my Jigglypuff. And so...
You're insane with Jigglypuff. It's such an awkward character, and you're so good
It really is. And I'm not really good with this like sleep power move anymore, but I can still kick some pretty good ass. But so we start playing, but then I realized, and I think he didn't realize it either, but with a 1-on-1, if you ever played Super Smash Brothers, like on a competitive scale, it's usually 4 or 5 lives, usually 5 lives. It was like 8 or 9. We're drunk, and we were playing on like what's the one with like the 3 clouds and it's like really open? I forget. Anyway,
I don't know the name of that level, but yeah.
So like a half hour later, I barely beat him, and I have like 2 lives left. And I just like I shake hands, whatever. We continue on with our night. But the worst part is the next morning I wake up, I have the biggest blister on my thumb. I instantly like black out and go back to like blisters on my thumbs when I used to play those games, and like the notorious Mario Party 1 Shy Guy wind up, where you wind it up and you try to get like 60 to 100 winds, and then finally by the time you're done, like you have an open blister in the middle of your hand.
I've only had that happen once, like in the palm of my hand, and it was trying to beat the boss in Mario 64. When you're playing against Bowser, I was having such a hard time getting the tailspins because I was young and stupid and I couldn't get the simple pattern that it was. So I was like just doing it furiously, and it fucked up my hand.
Like the tug of war in Mario, I think it's Mario Party 3 or something. Or maybe it was Mario Party 1. Maybe it was, I think Mario Party 1 just had like the notorious ones that just tore up your hand.
So
I just remember you guys playing Mario 64 or whatever it was at or
Smash
just
Bros?
Yeah, like you all would play it and you would get insane and like crazy competitive.
We had brackets and teams, and it was a whole thing.
Lots of yelling, and oh my gosh.
And it's funny because it's like 2007. We're playing a game from like '95, but I think it's still classic, man.
I mean, I went to a bar and was drinking and still took 30 minutes of my life to play a game from whenever.
Yeah.
So there's a topic here. It says story of your one irrational and/or virgin friend. Whose topic was that?
I think I put that like 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was last week.
So what do you have a good story about that? I don't know if I have an irrational story about a virgin friend.
Well, it could be and/or.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, it could be an irrational friend, it could be a virgin friend, or it could be a virgin friend who just happens to be irrational. I think I had a good story. What?
Probably because he's a virgin.
I was gonna say I feel like
the batter's backed up in the brain, man. You think all kind of funky thoughts, you know. So.
Well, and if you're a virgin too, you probably haven't been in a long-term committed relationship, and in that respect, then you're sort of naive to the mechanics of like human relationships, because there's that outside perspective of like, oh well, why do people do this? Because when I'm in a relationship, I'll never do that, and then you're in a relationship and you do that thing. You know, it's like you don't. It's like the same. I used to do the same thing with kids. When kids were crying in stores, I'd be like, dude, ridiculous. Get that fucking kid out of the store. That's unacceptable. Now it's, and I've mentioned this before. Now it's like, hey, sometimes you have to fucking get groceries or do whatever you got to do. The kid's got to cry. So it's like, you know, it's like your perspective changes once you're in it. And so I do feel like there are people who, once they get older, are maybe a little bit emotionally naive to like what goes into a relationship, and so they have that prejudgment thing going on all the time. We're like, I don't need to listen to your hip shot speculation on why other people should be running the relationships the way that you think they should be doing it. You know, that's all I got.
Well, I forgot my story, so I have to. I'm like trying to rethink about it, but yeah.
Well, in the meantime, what do you guys all think about the whole Paula Deen controversy?
Paula Deen, y'all.
Yeah, the shit's gotten thicker with that, man. They yanked her from Walmart and everything else. This is great.
I like how you said thicker.
Well, the shit is getting
thicker,
diabetes,
y'all. Because of what she cooked.
Well, my dad said that he had heard that she had an opportunity to like settle this, like out of court, like, you know, for like $1.5 million or something like that, and she chose not to. So of course it's in the public, and everybody's, you know, dropping her from endorsements and stuff like that. It's rollerballing.
People can hate on her for that, but like it's like, hey, she wanted to clear her name. I don't blame her. Like, why should we? Why do we give a fuck about something she said 30 years ago? I don't even know what. And
here's the thing. I mean, I commend her, number one, for standing up and saying, hey, y'all, I'm 66 years old. I'm from the South, and guess what? I've said some racist things. I mean, you know, basically when she was asked, you know, have you ever said anything racist? She said, well, of course. And, you know, and I see all the people on Facebook and Twitter and everything else going, I can't believe, what the fuck? You tell me one person in their life, a grown person, okay, above the age of like 12, that has not inadvertently or intentionally said something racist, okay? Everybody says it. I don't care if you're black, white, blue, it doesn't matter, man. Everybody said something that's racist, you know what I mean? And they have. It's just, it's some of the slang terms that are used, whatever the case. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a straight-edge family that's religious, and you've heard or said something like that yourself. So the people that have the holier-than-thou attitude about it and going, oh my God, I can't believe she admitted that. She admitted to saying the N-word 30 years ago, okay? And then everybody's beating on her here because I guess she was setting up a Southern-style plantation wedding for her brother and wanted to have little colored gentlemen dressed up, right, in little bow ties or whatever. But here, that's racist, right? But if my wife and I, you know, wanted to go and have a Hawaiian-style wedding, like a luau type thing, or maybe she liked the Oriental, the Japanese culture, and I wanted to have people dressed up and walking around with the fans and things like that they do, and so that wouldn't be racist, you know? Or maybe I like the Spanish heritage and I wanted to go and have a mariachi band, you know? So what it is it's taking a bunch of small things that that could be perceived as racist, right? It's what they did when OJ was on trial. They went and his lawyer went and took and discredited Mark Furman, you know. Okay, you saw this at the scene of the crime. Okay, but that doesn't count because you said the N-word 15 years ago, and that must make you a racist. So you hated OJ Simpson and planted it there. It's the same type of thing, man, you know. There was something else, too, I think, that she said. There was some other kind of comment, or I guess she sent an emails within her company to other people that had a racist joke in them. Come on, who doesn't know a joke that starts out about a black guy, a Mexican, and a Polak are on a boat? I mean, who doesn't know a joke like that or has heard one? You know, so everybody's condemning her for it, and personally, I think that, you know what, I got to commend her for standing up and saying, hey, you know what, I've said some of these things, and you know, it is what it is, man. You know, so. Oh,
totally. And we've talked about this multiple times on the show about sensibilities being offended so easily, and it's like, you know, I understand, and part of it is like, okay, if you think about the civil rights movement, you know, what is it? It started in the late 50s, early 60s, mid 60s, went through. So like, okay, we're talking about a little over 50 years ago. That's not that long, but give it more time and people will cool down. It's just right now it's irritating, like you said. I think with like you made a good point about like if we wanted to do a Hawaiian style wedding or this and that. But
see, I don't agree with that though. Like black people were like slaves. I mean, that's like serious. I mean, I don't think any, if you had Samoans or anything like that, I don't think they were enslaved like that.
That's what I was just going to say. Is I think that would be the argument is that the plantation style wedding is like at not advocating but hinting at like actual.
So I couldn't do something then with the American Indians because we killed them and stole their land and bought New York for a case of whiskey. I mean,
well, you'd be fine because you don't have millions of dollars in sponsors. Nobody would care.
Yeah, that's the main thing is, and that's what I was trying to say is that we're just or not we, but just in the general public and social media and all this crap, they're condemning her just because she's a rich famous person. I mean that's really the only reason for it, I mean,
it's the same thing with like we were talking about. I don't know, it was Reverend Sharpton or something like with tax evasion, and they wanted to give him a break because he's doing all these great things for the community or whatever. Maybe it was Jesse James, I don't know. And it's like
Jesse Jackson. I mean
Jesse Jackson. I'm sorry, Jesse
James did a lot for the community.
You can see how educated I am on this. But no, I was talking about actually with my father-in-law, and he was like, he made a good point. He was like, if it was any other black guy, they would not give them a chance to redeem themselves, on $1 million of tax evasion or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, then no one should get special treatment. I completely agree with that,
Yeah, and that's all I think it is. But I keep seeing all these things on Facebook, and if Walmart, it's like an open letter to Walmart, it's just a meme that somebody puts up and reposts. But if you don't want to carry Paula Deen's cookware anymore and have anything to do with her because she's racist, then I want you to take all of the rap CDs out of there and not have them in your stores because they're racist and they say the N-word more than anybody. And that's true, but we've all known for years that people of African Americans get a free pass on racism and how they act towards whites, Mexicans, or anybody else, and a lot of it's because of the whole. I mean, listen. My grandparents and ancestors, to my knowledge, were never any type of slave owners, okay? So I did no wrong, nor did my family ever to anybody of that color. However, I believe that a lot of times they get a free pass and they're allowed to go and, talk poorly about other, nationalities, races, whatever. And it's okay because it's, well, you know what, they were enslaved and all these bad things happened to them 200 years ago. All the people that are alive today, I'm sorry, but they've never experienced that type of struggle that their ancestors did. So, really, it should be the type of case where everybody should be able to just lighten the fuck up and get along a little bit better, But it's okay that Walmart goes and pulls Paula Deen from all their things because they don't want to be seen as a company supporting a racist woman. But on the other hand, it's okay to go and sell, jerseys for some of these different, football, basketball, baseball players that, are known drug addicts or, wife beaters or, we got the NFL player that's for murder. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing.
Same shit with Dog the Bounty Hunter. And Dog the Bounty Hunter has done, like, infinitely more for the community than most people have, and selflessly, too. But, like, it's the same old bullshit. The college thing, popped into my head. One of our first topics we talked about, and Jim, and then everyone disagreed with him. But I had a new thought on it about the college players not getting paid, despite them making all this money with like game endorsements and deals and that. And then the argument everyone levied against Jim was that, oh well, their colleges paid for, they should be happy with that. And then it kind of ended there. It made me think, you know what? I think there's a middle ground there. I think that it should be. You shouldn't be in school because you have physical prowess. The intellectual part of school should not be measured on your ability to play a game very well. While that's an admirable thing, what should happen? That it should be reversed. It should be both. What should happen is you should get paid from the game endorsements and all the crap from playing a college sport and profit from all the money that they're making, but you should have to pay for school then.
You still have to pay for your college like everybody else.
It should be the reverse. Yeah. Instead of getting free school, you should get the endorsements, but you have to pay for school.
And that one was actually one that it was actually our father had brought it up, and we were talking about it a little bit, and I thought it was a great idea because in the sense of, for instance, with baseball and I believe with hockey is the other one, they actually have a minor league system. So a minor league player can come out of college and he can play in the minor leagues, AA, AAA, whatever, even single A, and they can make a decent living. A lot of these guys are making $100,000, $150,000 a year or more, playing a game that they love, and if they ever are good enough or whatever the cases are needed, and they get promoted to one of the major league teams, great, they can have the big contract extension, all that. But basketball and football, there is no minor league. Their minor league is college. And that was my point, is that that's where all those players are coming from. They're not going from a draft to a minor league team. They're either playing on the practice squad, being cut, or they're a starting lineup player, you know. So that was my only thing, was that, you know, listen, these college players are going, this is their only thing, and then maybe they get injured. You know, a lot of terrible injuries have happened in college games, some of the bowl games and things like that. Their career is over as far as any type of athletics, and, you know, all the while they could have gotten kicked out of school and thrown off the team for, you know, accepting a free dinner. Now we all know what happens. Okay, it's just a matter of now they're really starting to crack down on it, you know. But it, you know, NCAA rules, you know, states that you cannot receive any type of, you know, monetary gifts, you know, any valued gifts or whatever the case is. You're not even supposed to be able to get like free airline tickets or free, you know, comped car if you're somewhere, or whatever the case is.
Yeah,
you know,
I think that solution with them getting paid from the endorsements, whatever, would stop this whole turned head syndrome that we all have. Because I heard about it in high school. Turns out it was actually true once I was in high school, and then it's probably even worse in college. But like, I think everyone, well, I think a lot of people have been in a situation where they've been in class with the dumbest fucking kid, but he plays 3 sports and he's, you know, he knows every single coach, and, you know, so he somehow gets past the class so he can still play sports, and that shit shouldn't be happening. It should absolutely be that if you want to represent the college, okay, you're going to pay for it like everybody else, and you're going to have to actually get by on your merits as an intellectual, okay, and you're going to have that in addition to being an athlete. And if you can't meet that criteria, then maybe there should be another way for people who have just strictly the athletic ability and not the capabilities for school to still have a fair shot at the team, because I don't think it's right to single people out just because they can't get the educational part.
And the other half to that was just that these colleges, I mean, they're making so much money off the different TV rights and the jerseys and all the different promotions they do that, I mean, it's ridiculous. These are supposed to be, and it isn't like they're taking that money and reinvesting it all, you know, in the college and the upkeep of that and getting better professors and better programs. Sure, some of it is going towards that, but most of it's going towards more marketing, more advertising, more scouting, more recruiting, and big-time salaries for the coaches. I mean, there's college coaches that are making, you know, $5 million a year. And I just, you know, I think that's a little bit excessive when, you know, the star quarterback can be kicked off the team and, you know, banned and dropped low in the draft and everything else for, you know, accepting a free lunch, you know. And I know that's a little bit drastic, but you get the point, you know. So, yeah, the fake girlfriend. So, hey, I want to say before we go on to something next, real, and this is something I hope you don't mind me bringing up, Surf, but you know, we all watch some videos on YouTube. I've been privy to, because of Surf over the last 5-6 months, some of the different commentators out there. We've talked about some of them, the guys from PKA, the Woody's Gamertag, things like that. But just recently, I was talking about this in the pre-show. I had been watching videos because of the Last of Us video game that I had been playing, and I'd been watching a Let's Play with it that Wings of Redemption was doing. And anybody who doesn't know who he is, he's Wings. He's a you know, fairly big commentator in the YouTube community. He's been doing it for several years now, 3.5, 4 years, I think, in Call of Duty type stuff. And he's a bigger guy, an overweight guy. He's been fairly depressed, I guess, recently, and had released a video that I happened to watch yesterday. I never watch longer videos, but the video was entitled Rock Bottom. And within the first few minutes, it just kind of gripped me because I've been in some dark, negative places myself. And he's, you know, a lot of personal issues going on, a lot of professional things, and just kind of looks lost, you know. And I personally had, and I don't know if the guy would ever read it or not, had just sent him a message, you know, with some heartfelt feelings. But I wound up getting up this morning and clicked on YouTube on my phone and saw, you know, you may want to watch from Surf Dub Entertainment a video that was a video response that he had, you know, Surf had posted. And anybody who hasn't seen it, check it out. And this isn't a shameless plug. It's just it's a good heartfelt video. And regardless whether you like Wings of Redemption or not, it's something where I tell you, I saw it and it made me proud to be related to Surf.
Oh, thanks, dude.
It was good. It was heartfelt. It was uplifting. It was positive. And those are the type of things that we need, because I tell you, after I saw it, my day was just clipped on by, man, a lot better. I felt like I got more things done. you know, so real good. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. I heard that he actually did see the video.
Yeah,
I
was surprised by that.
And there's a story behind that you can, you know, kind of segue into. And
yeah,
I guess he was calling you Surf Durf or something.
That was funny. That was funny.
You know, so, but
yeah,
anyway, that's my piece on that.
Yeah,
so.
Thanks for bringing that up. I meant to mention, I forgot about it, but I was surprised that he saw it in the first day, because I just posted today, and I was hopeful that he might see it today, but I didn't think it was actually going to happen. I thought maybe in the next couple of weeks, but I recently discovered this thing called Click to Tweet, and you put a link in, and you can just click on it, and it sets up a tweet message for you. And so I just set up the tweet to go right to Wings that, hey, I watched this video from Surf Type Entertainment. You know, check it out. It's about your rock bottom video. And I guess enough people tweeted it or whatever, but he saw it today and then put up a video saying, well, so here's the backstory about the actual video itself. So like Jim was saying, his video was just basically him saying he's at rock bottom. He's had a lot of things going on. And then I felt compelled to make a video just because, like, I've watched Wings struggle off and on for the past couple of years, and there's so many times where I'm like, man, I wish I was in that room on PKA so I could say something different than what these guys are saying. And not that their advice was bad or invalid, but it was always topical sort of suggestions. And anyone who knows or has been with someone who's in a rut or in a really bad depression is they just deflect those things. You know, they find any reason to be negative about them. And so it was really on my heart to be able to at least share with him that, like, to stop that process of deflection, you have to come to terms with the fact that happiness is not just some random emotion that chooses us, like you choose it. And in fact, here's a bunch of fucking science about that. Like, for me, when it's subjective and it's just wise advice, it's like, oh yeah, well, I don't have the mental capabilities of doing that because it's not quantifiable for me. When I read about it in terms of science, and not like I'm a huge science guy, but it encouraged me because it's like, oh, well, there's basis to this then. And so I recommended a couple books to him, whatever. But I was a little bit apprehensive to do the video at first because not just the backlash. I mean, fuck the haters, whatever. It is what it is. It's expected. But I just didn't want to be like the guy who's just like peddling out advice when no one fucking asked him. So that was my biggest fear. But I tried to clarify it in the video. It's like a 17-minute ramble, but it seems like a lot of people got a lot out of it. A lot of people were like, some dude wrote, he was like, dude, I'm psyched. He's like, I've been turned down for a job 8 times in a row now, but I think I'm going to get my ass up and reapply.
Just reading
right
the
on.
comments on it was good for me because, you know, people were saying some of the things that I felt. And ultimately, I think that's why he made that video. I really think that in the back of his mind, he was reaching out, man. I mean, he even talked in the video about how and people do this for me and help me with this banner or with this gameplay or whatever. I don't know how to repay them, and I just don't know what to do. And like I said, personally, I just know I've been in that, you know, in that seat before, and maybe worse, maybe, you know, who knows? Everybody's situation's different, but you know, just felt that that was a good thing, and even cooler that, you know, the guy actually was able to see it, and that maybe he got some, you know, some positive benefit.
Yeah, what I was so happy about is that, like, every time I have seen him receive some advice, you know, like I said, he does the deflection thing, and he goes still to a pretty negative place, but he started out the video and he was high energy, and then he was talking about it, and it sounded like he had like an aha moment from it, and that really touched me. Like, I hope that happened for him, because he was like, a lot of people made, you know, response videos, and he goes, but, you know, my favorite was Surf Durf. He kept calling me Surf Durf, which, hey, that's fine. I could be Surf Durf. I mean, I'm fine with that. But Durf.
I like that.
But he was like, my favorite was Surf Durfs because, you know, he basically was reminding me that happiness is a choice, and he went into it a little bit, and I was like, good, man. I just felt a different energy. And then he made a commentary right after that I watched, and his energy is just through the roof again. Like, it feels like the old Wings, and like, man, that makes me feel good. Like, if I got to be that little catalyst that helped him start that journey, you know, because there's going to be ups and downs. Anyone who's been through a depression, like, knows that there's those days where you have those glimmers of hope, and then it can be squandered by the littlest thing. It could be like, fuck, man, my dishwasher run was late, and I didn't get to bring my mug to work, and I was late for work, and then it perpetuates this whole bad day of, like, events.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, a lot of things can rollerball on you too, but ultimately I kind of identified a little bit with some of his position, because not so much with, you know, the YouTube making things, but just doing something over and over again, and he's like, and I'm in this room 10, 12 hours a day, sometimes more, 7 days a week, nonstop, blah, blah. And I understand where he's coming from, because a lot of times, you know, you do maybe start to run out of creative ideas. You know, at one point he said, yeah, and I used up all my stories and commentaries. And I'm thinking to my life, really? You know, you've done a couple thousand videos and you have no more stories about your 27 years of life, you know? But that's the place that he's in right now, you know what I mean? He's thinking that, you know?
Yeah, when you feel like there's no hope, man, it's just the worst feeling. And I've been there a couple of different times. The second time in my life was worse than the first. And, dude, like, ever since then, I just realized the value of reading, and like just the general topic of self-awareness, or what they call self-actualization. You know, the idea is that the more that you know yourself and accept yourself, you don't have to struggle with just accepting your weaknesses and, you know, reserving that for, like, oh, you know, it's just something I'll never conquer. And I guess the other reason about sharing advice like that is because it is a journey, because it is a process. It took a long time of those building blocks for me to put those things together, because otherwise it's just the same topical, generic, like, choose positivity and things will work out, and you're like, yeah, right, you know, like, you don't know my fucking situation. But when you start taking that journey and you learn about the topic itself, it really is, I don't mean to sound like a transcendental asshole, but it's really enlightening. You elevate your perspective. You literally, like, you raise your consciousness. And, you know, from that, especially with guys like Haters, because he's always really struggled with haters, you know, like, more so than anybody else. He gets so bent out of shape with them so quick. You know, it's like, dude, don't get me wrong, it fucking sucks.
He's probably just a sensitive guy.
Oh, totally. And I meant to mention that in the video and I didn't. I wanted to compare him to Tupac, because Tupac was so sensitive. And that's honestly one of the things that made him one of the best rappers, is because he was so fucking sensitive. And I wanted to tell him, like, you need to use that to your advantage. It's okay to be sensitive, but you can't let the shit get to you. But yeah, I had one, like, crazy comment from this guy. It was it was like the N-word. It was like N-word Black Jesus was this guy. It was just like ridiculous rant. But like, hey, you got to take that shit with a grain of salt and just move on, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad it reached him, and I'm glad, you know, I'm glad I ended up doing it. You know, I've found it so often, the videos you feel like the most apprehensive about or shittiest about do the best. My South Park Netflix video, I was like, on a whim that night, was tired. I really wanted to have a video up the next day. I had tried to make this video, but my rendering was messed up, so I was like, I'll see if I can do the screen capture of the Netflix thing, because I was genuinely pissed off about that. And the thing's got like 500 views and like a ton of comments, and I thought it was such a lackluster video, but everyone else seems to like it. So it's a funny experience, I guess, on YouTube.
Well, that's really cool that he saw that and that he responded back to you.
I need to go watch that, yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't even know about the response until we were talking in the pre-show. But, you know, like I said, though, man, honestly, you know, hats off to you, too, for regardless of, you know, doing something like that, just to do it because it was a good, positive thing to do to help another human being, regardless of, and not caring about what, you know, whatever hate may come from, you know, from the nonsensical people out there that really have
You're doing it for subs and views and like.
Well, yeah, and you didn't do that.
You know, and those are the people that if you go and you click on, you look, I mean, every comment they have is negative. You know, you see them on YouTube. I used to see them on, when I used to do a lot of achievement whoring. I used to play a lot of games on Xbox and try to get all the achievement points, and I'd go on the different forums, you know, and stuff. And there, you know, there's always those trolls, man, that are just looking for something to tear you apart. Oh, why'd you post a video on that? That's the easiest thing in the world to get. You're a fucking retard, you know, and just stupid things like that. It's like, really, you know?
It's like, at least they tried. That's my whole thing. Is like, you're just sitting here hating on something, but at least they're out there trying to do something.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like all you're trying to do is like just bring the world down, man.
Yeah.
You know? So
you don't need people like that in your life.
Yeah, exactly. And
what you do because it makes you a better person.
Well, and you need
not close to you though.
You need contrast too, because then like the actual intelligent people wouldn't stand out if everyone had like a decent sense of morality.
Yeah, that's true.
You need contrast.
Make me look better.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm glad it all worked out and shit. You know, it's just cool. It's just cool that it seemed like it had an effect. So I'm very pleased with it.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice that you were able to touch someone in a positive way.
It's very nice to touch someone.
Full pedo. How about Jamie, Sean? Do you guys have any good topics for us?
I don't know.
I'm looking.
The topic list wasn't overflowing this week. I think that's one of the.
Well, that's the problem, is that we've had so much overflow, and then we didn't bother to like put all those things together and bring them over, because lately we haven't been following the topic list too well. But I think if we utilize it more,
we can just go down the line and say which celebrity we wish would like get incredibly hurt.
Let's start with you. Who do you wish would drop off the face of the earth?
Me?
All of us. Yeah.
There's so many of them. I mean. And like you can't see someone like Lindsay Lohan or Paris Hilton because they're gonna do it by themselves. It's like a waste of a good wish.
Yeah, you can't die if you're soulless.
This is such a mean topic.
No, it is not. It's an awesome topic. Whoever came up with that is fantastic.
It was me.
Was it you?
That was me. I think it was me. Maybe it was you. I forget.
No,
I forget.
It was
Sean
me.
is sweating and breathing heavy. He's so excited.
It was me.
Can't wait.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Well, how about you go first?
Who's you?
Mine's simple.
Shawshank.
I'm really tired of fucking hearing about him. Fucking Justin Bieber. Seriously, that little fucktwat. That little fucktwat is everywhere. I get tired of hearing about him speeding through his fucking community in his fucking Ferrari and how his neighbors hate him and all these pictures with this little fucking stick kid with his shirt off and his fucking tattoos, thinking he's a badass. I mean, seriously.
He's got charges being levied against him for monkey care in like the in Europe or something. Did you guys hear about that?
It's like just die already. Seriously.
Oh, come on.
Just fucking die.
I agree
on.
with that.
Well, SurfWife, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, like, any celebrity to fall off the face of the earth, I don't think that's very nice.
No, just get really, really hurt, like to the point to where they like are.
I don't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Oh, stop being so nice. Just say
Okay, so
me.
let's rephrase the question then for SurfWife. Instead of someone getting hurt, who's someone that you are strongly turned off by their personality to the point where you would never want to socially interact with them or develop a relationship?
Or they lose all of their hair permanently for life. And toenails and stuff like that.
Look at how even your face is a little disgusted as you said that.
I don't know. I can't think of anybody in particular. I just hate how, like, I don't know. It's almost a different topic, but I just hate how the media just, like, picks apart, like Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian for how much weight she gained or, like during her pregnancy. It's just like, enough is enough. And, like, that's why people just get so obsessed and they get sick of hearing about it is because the media just, like, pushes it on everybody. But I don't know if I can think of one person. I mean, there's several celebrities where you're just like, I probably would not associate with them in real life, but I don't have to, so I don't have to worry about it.
See, this is what slowly whittled me down over the years from being an asshole to be like a much more peaceful, pleasant guy, is because like this is SurfWife all the time. She just doesn't genuinely have any mean bones in her body.
John Mayer.
John Mayer.
Are you saying I would want John Mayer or John Mayer's yours?
I'm just starting to call out people that Jamie should choose.
What? No. I love John Mayer.
What?
Yes.
Really, you know what? If really like Lil Wayne and Justin Bieber were in a plane together and it went down, I wouldn't care. I would not be hurt.
Wayne, I can't stand him.
There you go. See,
I don't wish anything bad on him, but I can't stand him. I think.
But see, I'm not going to wish that he's going to die because he's going to do it himself. That's like you said, like Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan. They're going to do it themselves, and he's going to go ahead and sip his syrup and end up seizuring out one day and just dying. And I will have a celebration.
NyQuil, 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 we love you, you giant fucking cube.
A video leaked of Lil Wayne and Justin Bieber hooking up. Would be awesome.
What?
If they got caught hooking up,
if this happened,
they would be completely banned from everything.
I don't know about you guys, but that kid Northwest is going straight to the top and slightly to the left.
That was so not creative.
I saw it on a tweet, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Well, North is the first name and West is the last name. I just figured that out yesterday.
Well, just like Kanye's real name is Douche. His first name's Douche. His last name's Bag. So I mean, that's why he goes by Kanye West.
Real quick, I wanted to recognize a comment from Entertain Me TV. He's the guy who's been following me from the get-go. He's a really cool dude. He said, "Surf, again, I'm going to say thanks for what you did for Wings. Really great that you did that. Loving the show, guys. Great job. Thanks for the compliment, man. We're having a fun time doing the show."
Got any suggestions for topics would be nice too.
Dude, that's so our responsibility, and I feel really bad that we're like so underprepared. But hey, we'll have a good time.
Hey, I was the guest. That wasn't my responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. It's not your
responsibility.
Yo, yo.
So Jim, if there was one celebrity that can fall off the face of the earth, who would you like it to be?
Beyonce.
Oh, come on.
Beyonce.
She's got a really good voice.
Well, and here's the thing. Good friend of mine. His name is Kevin. I won't use his last name because I don't know if it'll bother him or not. He actually went to college with the Sean Combs, Puff Daddy or P Diddy or whatever he calls himself now. And he's in the music industry and on a smaller scale, obviously. Had his own production company.
He worked with Alicia Keys, didn't he?
He did work with Alicia Keys when she was coming up, and he had this artist. I forget she was local Chicago and a girl, beautiful voice. And when Beyonce was looking to split from Destiny's Child, her father, whatever Knowles, I forget what his name was her manager, was going around and making. Trying to make deals with smaller artists, singers, songwriters, like Kevin was representing, and I guess they wound up getting to the meeting table, and what they offered looked good on paper, but when they actually looked over everything in the fine lines, in the bylines of the contracts. Ultimately, what Beyonce was doing and what her father was doing was that she is not a talented singer or songwriter as far as I'm concerned, but I guess she really couldn't make a lot of this shit up herself. So what they were doing is they were actually doing these backdoor deals to steal the rights from artists that were unknown that would never be able to. That basically what would happen is they would swindle them, you steal their songs from them and the rights to them, so Beyonce could call them her own while she was going off on her own, and then ultimately everything was handled later on through backroom payouts, because then they'd be taken to court and they would take, and the struggling artist wouldn't have enough money to get the proper representation to go get up against the great Beyonce Knowles and her family and the millions of dollars they had. And at any rate, it was just Kevin kind of gave me a whole background of the whole ordeal and how Beyonce herself was. And I guess she's just a very, very ugly person when it comes to, I don't care about her looks, I'm talking about just inside. Yeah. Because it was very much like a fuck you. She has a name, and we're gonna go and we're gonna beg, borrow, and steal anything we have to do and backstab people. And then I guess there was several lawsuits that came out after it, but they were all swept under the rug, and they were just there was cash payouts, you know what I mean, to keep the artist quiet, because the artist was basically like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna ever really be able to fight this. I don't have a name for myself anyway. And I just think that that's real low and shady, and there was a few other, instances and things too that, he had told me about. And again, these weren't things that were rumors, that you heard on TV or that you saw on TMZ or one of those things. This was a good friend of mine.
Like first-hand experience.
First-hand account,
I trusted him. He was not a person that made things up. There was no reason to,
Well, I've read a book on it. There's actually a term for it. I'm not sure what it is, but it's actually pretty common. It goes back to like the 50s. It's been going on for a long time. It happened with the crooners.
And I'm sure it is. And Kevin explained it to me, and now it's been, so many years, 10, 12 years now, it escapes me the exact, how everything was worded and put together and everything like that. But what it was is it was set up to make it look like Beyonce and her father's production company was giving this artist a break, an up-and-coming break, there was going to be on, 10 dates of this tour with Destiny's Child or with Beyonce. And in reality, the fine print was basically like, we're going to fuck you and take everything of yours, and you can't even perform your own songs on this tour because we now own all of them. We own everything that you've ever made, everything that you're going to make for the next 18 months. And, and it was, I guess it was just real shady how it was handled, And Kevin was telling me, he said even by music industry standards, he goes, I ain't never seen some shady shit like this, Jim. And Kevin was he was one of them cool, smooth. He's an African American
chill dude. He was super chill.
He was just chill, man. He had an afro and stuff, and he was always just like, man, Jim. And he never got too excited about anything, but he's just like, man, Jim, I'm telling you, it was some fucked up shit, man. He's like, it was some fucked up shit,
It's crazy, man. That's crazy shit. And then there's the people, if you pussyfoot around with it too much, you get caught. I mean, I think Usher and Justin Bieber right now are suffering a lawsuit from that.
Yeah, I
believe
producers. You're right.
The problem with it, too, is not just people signing contracts blindly, because that is the majority of the problem, don't get me wrong. And any music industry professionals I've ever talked to, they're like, don't hire an attorney. You need to hire an entertainment attorney or specifically a music contract attorney, because there's so many clauses and things in here you will never understand that you should never sign obviously, it seems obvious you should never sign a contract without having it gone over. But anyways, the other part of the problem, God damn it. The other part of the problem in the legal system is that if you do choose to try and fight this thing and bring it to court, it's so ambiguous because intellectual property, they have all these really loose terms. So yeah, you can talk about the melody and the beat structure and the lyrics and the content, but still, like, you know, Vanilla Ice got away with stealing dum 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 da da dum dum
Queens under pressure.
because he has an additional eighth note at the end of the measure. There's a famous interview with him going, theirs is
yeah, he's explaining it.
this is what he does. He goes, theirs is dum 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 da da dum 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 da da dum dum, and he goes, mine is dum 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 da da dum 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 da da dum da da dum dum.
It's so stupid.
And you know what?
Yeah, it's just it's slight variation.
That's how he got away with it, because it was a single eighth note. A single eighth note saved him from total destruction.
Sounds better anyway.
It's such a shame too. And like I said, I know that's I'm not naive. I know this stuff goes on and probably has since the beginning of time with things like that. But she's one of my top people. The other one of my most hated artists would probably be Taylor Swift. And not so much because she's the cute gangly girl that sings about her terrible relationship.
I just love the Go parody of her song Trouble.
I think my thing with her is that I heard a few months ago, it was on the news and it was on the radio too, that and whether it was her, whether she had knowledge of it, I guess somebody found an entire dumpster in Tennessee where she lives down there outside of Nashville full of fan mail. And whether it was, and obviously it wasn't her that went and drove it in her SUV there and dumped it, but she told somebody to, or she allowed her manager to. And you know what? I don't care if she wasn't aware of it. If you have that little control over your own personal things and the people who got you there, you care that little about actually making sure that you at least have somebody that you pay to read those things and bring the ones of importance to attend. Because there's people that write, suicide notes and everything, and, God, if you just answer me, it would give me a reason not to hang myself tonight and shit like that. Most of these artists do have somebody when they're in that position that actually will read those things, looking for things that, one, are dangerous or threatening, or two, that are things where, they could reach out and help. And I just thought that was real classless for this 19, 20-year-old, whatever she is now.
I'm really sad to see the direction she's gone, because people gave her so much shit first coming on the scene because of all the love stories, but I always vouched for her because she was an amazing songwriter and as a lyricist. And
I like that. Yeah, I mean, that's
he's really good at all things.
Never changed.
But she's gone downhill, and it's sad to see. It's like there's these memes online that are like, "Quick date." It's like her picture of her. It's like, "Quick date me. I need to write another album." Or I have nothing else to write about.
Well, and the thing about it with her, and like I said, see, I'm a person that's loyal to a fault when it comes to things like that. Her music is fine, I guess. I mean, I've never had any problem with it. My wife likes them, and some of her songs are catchy, and I'm sure she is a very good, talented songwriter and everything else. But something like that will forever turn me off to her or anybody associated with her. And maybe that's not right, but that's just how I view things. I look at it as like, what, because one thing that our parents told us when we grew up is that never forget where you came from. I don't care if you wind up being some kind of multimillionaire or you got some kind of endorsement. Don't forget where you came from. And I see and hear about a lot of that with a lot of these people, even on YouTube, and they don't want to help guys coming up anymore and this and that. Why not? Somebody helped you get up, somebody helped you get onto the scene, and now you have 500,000 or a million subscribers. Why can't you lend a hand to a guy? And I'm not talking about the 12-year-old that, can't even articulate himself on there. I'm talking about the legitimate people that are really trying to make a name for themselves, but it's difficult because it's a saturated marketplace and everything else, and I even just contacting some people to come on Overdose, I've gotten some
it's been
responses.
Ridiculous, dude.
I've gotten some mixed responses, but anybody that I've contacted that's had over 10 or 20,000 subs, it's kind of been like hey, come back and talk to me when you got, several thousand subs, and then maybe we'll think about it. And I've had a couple people say, yeah, sure, how much money are you offering? I'm going to pay you because you're a YouTube personality to go and to come on a casual, show where you hang out and talk about some topics. Get real, man. You know what I mean? You should be happy to be invited somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Is like paid guests is reserved for people who actually have a legitimate following. Like there are people who pay for guests.
Wings.
But even so, it's like what was cool too is I sponsored an episode of the Bad Kid podcast. It's with Only Use Me Blade and Keemstar. I'm not, to be completely honest, and I doubt they're gonna see this or watch this. But even if they did, I'm not afraid to say it, and I'll say it if I get a chance to hang out with them. But I'm not the biggest fan of Keemstar. In fact, I take Keemstar because he comes with Blade. They live together, I think, and Blade's I really like Blade a lot. But anyways, I enjoy their podcast, just the two of them. That's usually like an hour. And so I sponsored an episode, and where the fuck was I going with this?
And you really like Use Me Only Blade.
Oh my Christ!
I was talking about guests and YouTubers.
Oh
where
yeah,
they came
that's
from,
right, that's
type of
right.
thing.
And what was really cool about them is they've both got big standings, and Keemstar was really cool. He was like, yeah, these guys run a podcast. He's like, I think that we should be on their podcast. We should just volunteer for it first. I was like, right on. So there's a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that Blade and Keemstar might be on Overdose at some point. And if that doesn't happen, there's a possibility I might be on Bad Kid Podcast. I don't know.
Did that change your opinion of Keemstar?
It was cool. It was really cool of him. Like he didn't have to do that, and it's like one of those things where, yeah, like they legitimately could request to be paid guests because they command that kind of audience. But they're like, hey,
it's cool. The people like that, and that's where that saying is always, embedded in my mind, about never forget where you came from. Because I've had some positive response from some people that, that are a little bit bigger, and it's basically just yeah, we could do it down the road, or you know what I mean, when I can fit it in scheduling wise, or I mean, I've even had a couple people that are bigger, have bigger followings or whatever, that have said, you know what, I took a look at it, you guys got a great thing going there. I can't do it at this time, but thanks I really appreciate you, and they've at least given a positive response, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, and those ones are cool, but then the other ones that think that, because they wound up, however or another, they got themselves a 500,000 or a couple million subs that they're above, or just human decency is, those ones, I mean. And you'll find a lot of them.
It's even more flabbergasting because it's like, you're YouTube famous, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the thing, It's like, you're still going to the grocery store as whoever, you are.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but some of these guys, though, they think, like I said, think their shit doesn't stink because they can get a few million hits on a video. So
I was talking to Jim and I, our sister, in the grocery store, and I was telling her about how, like, I had basically, for our viewers who don't know, like, my only objective from, like, age 12 probably up until 22 was, like, all I wanted to do was be a touring musician. That's all I wanted to do. And I worked really hard towards it. Circumstances just, weren't there for me to be able to explore what I wanted to. It was really way before the baby that whole thing unraveled. But part of it was I had sort of lost my drive and passion. And so, anyways, long story short, the Cliff Notes version of this is that YouTube filled that void, and it's something I'm very passionate about now. What I like about the idea of being able to garner a decent following on YouTube is that, like, yeah, I could have 1 million or 2 million subs, but I can still go to the grocery store, and I'm not going to get recognized every time. I hear from some of the bigger commentators when they get recognized, and it's occasional. That's got to be nice, that it's just occasional. And because I really genuinely wouldn't want to deal with the bombardment all the time. Yeah. Because how do you explain to 1,000 people who, only get to see you once, and they're expecting a certain thing out of it, and it's like, if you only knew I'm just a chill dude, and everyone could just chill out, like, that would be fine. Not that I've experienced that or something, but that's got to suck as like a celebrity. People always say, "Oh, well, you should expect it being a celebrity." It's like, well, regardless.
Yeah, that's got to get annoying.
It's got to be really fucking tough.
Yeah, and then try to have this air of who you are and your image and everything else. Like, dude, I still shop at Target or whatever, man. I'm not. But I mean, yeah, and that's one of the things, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good point too. Because I've seen some tweets and some things too from like that Jenna Marbles, whatever, and she's one of the biggest YouTubers out there, and she says that she lives right outside of LA somewhere, and she hardly ever gets recognized, and she's probably one of the most well-known faces just because all of her videos are like
she's like top 10
or whatever.
YouTubers, yeah.
And the videos, they're not like videos that she's slightly in, like it's always a video like on her, like she's, you know what I mean? So she's a fairly well-known. I mean, before I even had subscribed to anybody on YouTube or anything like that, I saw a reposting one of her videos on Facebook a couple of years ago, thought it was funnier than hell, and then clicked on, I liked her Facebook page and wasn't even aware about, like, you could subscribe to channels on YouTube. I was naive to that, and just whenever they'd pop up in my feed, I'd watch them, I'd laugh, and, I thought they were, very comical or whatever, but, so that's, a person that's one of the most well-known out there and says that she still very rarely gets, recognized anywhere, so which is kind of cool. So
yeah, I would like that part of it. Go ahead, honey.
One of my favorite videos of her, a good friend of mine, since I've known since high school, she posted on my wall the Jenna Marbles video of how girls like drive in the car or something like that. And it's just so hilarious because it's so like on target. Like you go over a curb and you're like, whoopsies, and oh my gosh, she's such a skank. Look at what she's wearing when she's running, and like it's so funny.
You have to look up her. Carrie and I watched it. It's her makeup tutorial.
Oh my
and
God.
she does all these different things with makeup. You know, I'm like, and this makes me look like I have cheekbones, and this makes me look like I'm sad, and this makes me look like I'm a clown. And she does all these different. But it's neat because the way she cuts it together and does it with the different makeup, I was like, oh my God, like I never realized like makeup could have that much of an astounding change in appearance. Because now you're seeing it, you know, in these clip shots from the same person,
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, you really do. You look different. You know, you really look like you have
really
a different
cool.
facial
I like her a
structure.
lot.
You know, so
Yeah.
definitely fun and lighthearted. So
Yeah.
I contacted her about being on the show as well. So haven't received a response yet, but I did offer to draw a custom portrait.
I've been standing outside the mailbox every day.
No, you know what though, man, and I've done this with a few of them because I draw. I figure I have an advantage, and people that are like her, she loves her 2 dogs, Kermit and Marbles.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I told her in the message I sent her, I sent some pictures of some of the drawings that I've made, some of the portraits of different family members, and I said, listen, I can't offer you like the money that you're used to for appearing probably, you know, on somebody's show or somebody's channel or whatever. But ultimately, if you ever had time and you wanted to come on just a fun, relaxing type of show, you know, I said in return, I said I could do a custom portrait of your, you know, you with your dogs, you know, and those are like our kids to her. So, you know, whatever. I mean,
you know, it'd be rad as hell. A lot of times, if you scour the internet, it's not hard to find the PO boxes of some of these people where you can send fan mail.
I can find
yeah, I was
and
thinking
you know
about
what you
actually
do,
just
dude?
doing something and just
do
sending
it,
it to her,
and
and then sending a letter along with it and being like, hey, listen, man, you know, I just really like your stuff, and you know what I mean. You really kind of inspired me to do some fun things, and I thought it was, you know, I've just gotten a good laugh out of a lot of the shit. You've really brightened up a lot of my days, blah blah. I mean, my wife watches the videos. I mean, so it's not like it's, you know, fake at all.
Right.
You
and
know,
here's my thing too, is what you do is you make it huge, like the size of this poster behind me, and you frame it and you ship it, and like so she has no choice but to recognize it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It's like, because then it's like you get a tag on the box, and it's like you have to come pick up this package. You know?
Surf, did
That's actually a really good idea.
White Boy one time? I thought I remember you showed me a video of like a fan
That was actually with Woody. A fan painted a thing for Black Ops 2 right before it came out, and actually it's still like you can see on his wall, like right behind him, and he did like an unboxing.
Badass.
And I was like, oh, that's like a good way to reach those guys. That's where I had gotten the idea originally to start writing songs for all of the YouTubers I wanted to develop relationships with, and so I've had Woody's song for a long time. Everyone knows the story on that. I haven't released it for a couple of different reasons, but I'm working on different other songs. Like I know Only Use Me Blade's like slow jazz or something. He said someone make like a jazz fusion song for Only Use Me Blade, and I've got an idea for White Boy 7th Street. So I think I'll eventually make like a little series where I do like commentator songs and just pay a little homage to their channel. And if it develops a relationship, that'd be cool. Like that's the whole thing about YouTube is they say, okay, try and partner up and do dual comms and do collaborations with people of similar sized channels. I think because it's like, I don't want to say segregist or classist, but it is like that high school, like, oh, there's this group, there's this group. It's like, you know, the only way all the big YouTubers are communicating with each other is because they have each other's personal info. You know, they're not using YouTube or Twitter as their main way to talk to each other. They've got each other's cell phone numbers and emails, you know. Like, it would be really cool to just have a relationship with those people. You know, I think that, like, especially because I admire them. Like, I started YouTube because I really enjoyed what they were doing and I admire it. So to be able to make relationships and friendships, that would be super rad to me. So I need to actually get around to making these songs and putting them up on the channel. Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
The entire time you were talking, I saw Jamie fall asleep. Her eyes just like went back and her eyes closed. She just looked down. She was just like this.
Falling asleep. I was just sitting here with my eyes closed. Jesus.
Disgusting.
My telephone.
I was just napping. I was just napping, guys. Sorry. It's okay, James. Surf wife.
Surf wife.
I live with Surf, so I hear a lot of this stuff already.
Lucky
yeah, you do.
No, I get the same response from my wife. I'll sit and talk to her about things, and whether it pertains to this type of thing or just a lot of different topics. I don't know if she's just tired of hearing them or if she just didn't care to begin with, but a lot of times she's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's great.
Sure.
You know? Just like, okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What did you say again?
That sounds really good. And it's like, oh,
So-
okay, thanks.
So at work yesterday, you know, I answer the phone. It's a customer, and they're like, "Hey, do you carry wooden crates?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Could you measure it for me and let me know?" So I'm like, "Okay." I go measure it. I'm like, "It's approximately 12 inches long, and it's about 8 inches deep." She goes, "Can you transfer that to centimeters? Because I don't understand inches."
What are you calling from, like, Europe?
Yeah, and I said no.
metric system.
I says no, I can't.
Why can't she exert herself?
Husband. He goes in centimeters.
Seriously.
Did you hang up on her like that last lady?
No, I did not hang up on her.
I mean, there's an app on the phone that you can do it. You can type that into Google and
Yeah.
do it. You know,
I was just like, I'm like, really? I'm like, are you that fucking stupid? Seriously.
What happened with the lady that you hung up
get a
on?
ruler.
She complained. It happens.
What happened exactly?
She complained. Well, one lady was bitching about something, so I just kind of hung up. Seriously, there's only so much bitching you can take in one day. You know? Before you're just like, fuck you. I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah, dude.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But now I'm on my best behavior, so.
Motherfucker.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yep.
Well,
Did you receive a verbal from that?
No. I got a new boss, and he's my old boss is kind of more laid back. And, you know, I'll just be like, oh, you know what, you need to smile more. Hey, you know what, you need to go fuck yourself more. So, you know, it's just, this guy's a little more, I guess, hard-nosed, so it's like, hey, whatever. I can be nicer.
Before we begin to wrap up, I wanted to mention that next week our special guest is Matt Gilman. Matt Gilman's been on the show a couple of times. He's one of our favorite guys. And I don't know if you guys know, but you guys know that that Gilman transferred out to L.A.?
Yeah. I knew he was going to. I didn't know what he did yet.
He is officially there.
He's officially in California.
Good for him.
I'm excited to hear from him. So yeah, yay for Matt for making that next move in life.
Wahoo!
Whoop whoop.
Yay!
Did he bring his kegerator? He should have really left it here. We would have used it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could have made good use of that one.
Exactly.
That would have been real nice. And then, you know, too, last week I know we mentioned, I think Tim had seen World War Z, said it was good. I had seen The Monsters University, said it was good. Sean, I don't think you had seen either one at the time, right?
Oh, I had seen Monsters University.
Oh, you had seen Monsters University. Yeah. Since then, Surf, you guys in the family have seen Monsters, I believe.
Twice.
Oh, twice,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
It's a great movie, don't you think?
Oh, I loved it, man. It was really good.
Love
It was fun for a prequel. They thought they did a nice job leading up with all the stories and everything for a kids' movie. You know, I thought
Pixar are the best storytellers, dude. They just are. Like, their storytelling is so good, and I really, really, really dug this movie a lot. I thought it was, and I love the message. Like, the message was just so cool.
Yeah, it was.
And
it was great how Nathan Fillion did the voice of the prick, the bad guy or whatever. You know,
Jamie pointed that out, and I was like, it sounds like him, but then there was a couple lines where I thought it wasn't him, and then we looked in the credits, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's.
His voice is to me. Maybe because
Very
of the
distinct.
eyesight problem. I've always very good hearing, you know, and I can pick up like on commercials when they just have like a voiceover, you know, from a well-known actor or whatever. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's so and so, you know, and then Carol's just like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, and I have to go and bring up movies that person was, and she's like, oh yeah, maybe that is, you know.
Yeah.
But I picked him out right away and thought it was good. I saw the World War Z the other day. Went and saw that in 3D too. Man, was that good. That was really good.
I heard that's really good.
There was a few jump scares in there that were like, holy shit, you know, those type of moments. And it really was. It was everything that Tim had talked about, and then, of course, some of the things I had read, too. It had all the benefits of that the small enclosed tight areas. There was a few different scenes in the movie that took place in the laboratory, the hospital, the Resident Evil type setting where it's just real, you know, the flashing bulb on and off and like something jumping out of the corner. And then there was like some crazy global scale, like, you know, just thousands of them climbing, running over walls and just crazy shit, you know. Yeah, in Israel. It was good, though. It was, I think, hands down, probably my favorite zombie movie ever. You know,
it wasn't like super crazy violent. Like, is that? Or like
there's not as much blood as you thought there would be.
Yeah. I mean, I could agree with that. Yeah, it's not as much. I mean, whereas The Walking Dead, for instance, is, you know, really much like, okay, now that we've gone and like blown the zombie's face off, we're still gonna go and like stomp his head in with the butt of the shotgun 14 times and like watch the head like just fall apart and disintegrate and like blood and entrails everywhere. You know, this was not like that. I mean, certainly you're gonna have a certain level of gore, you know, with the zombies, but because these things turn so quick and they were so fast, this clicking noise that they made reminded me of a combination of these clickers, they're actually called in the game The Last of Us, and velociraptors from Jurassic Park. that kind of like high-pitched noise that they make right before they attack or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the noise these things make, and they're like fucking cheetah fast, man. And I mean, they just literally like just take a couple of gallops and just leap like 15 feet in the air. You're like, oh shit, whoa, 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 you know?
The zombies do?
Yeah, the zombies do. And in 3D, man, there was a couple of parts where it was just like all of a sudden some shit was just like bam. I mean, in your face, it was like, you know.
Wow.
So it was fun though. I definitely enjoyed it. You know.
I'd like to check that out. We were just talking about like the only time we get to go to see movies is usually like kid movies, so we got to go see. There's a bunch I'd like to see in World War Z as well.
I heard The Heat is really funny.
The Heat's supposed to be good with Sandra Bullock and
Melissa McCarthy.
and Melissa McCarthy. Carrie and I are going to try to go see that, and then also coming out tomorrow is, of course, for the 4th of July holiday. There's a few of them coming out, but Despicable Me 2. If anybody's seen the first one, it was a great animated film.
I didn't know that was that soon.
Steve Carell, did the voice of the main character, Gru. And it's really, really funny. He has like this, he does like this Russian accent, whatever in the character. Anybody who's seen the first one, but the second one comes out tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. It's supposed to be good. And I'd also heard that the Jamie Foxx movie, White House Down, with him and Channing Tatum, I guess was actually supposedly very good. From what I heard,
that shocks me to my very core. I saw that.
Me too. I saw it and said it was very, very, like, not original.
Oh, really? I just saw the trailer and I was like, really?
Well, that can almost be said about like 98% of any movie that's out now, too. I mean, realistically. And listen, I've never been a huge fan of Jamie Foxx. I'm not in love with Channing Tatum either, although he is very dreamy. And I'm sure that my wife probably fantasizes about him a lot. But regardless of that, I mean, I wasn't expecting much from it either. But had talked to a few people that friends of mine, that saw it and said it was actually
she wants to
good,
fan his Tatum.
Probably. So we have this inside joke because my wife's not very outward with a lot of the things she talks about. So when we'll talk, I'll ask her sometimes, say, don't you have any like fantasies or any whatever? And I'll say, I always think about this, and I mean, and all these crazy out there things. So anyway, she finally came out about a year ago, and she was having a few drinks, and she says that occasionally, she thinks about we call it the floating dick. It's not actually a person in particular. It's just sometimes she'll occasionally think about like a fantasy, and she claims there's no like person, like no face attached to this fantasy. So I always joke about it, and I'll say, "What are you thinking about your floating dick again?"
That's awesome.
So a lot of times
that's kind of
like
creepy.
Channing Tatum or one of these other guys, I'll just be like, or like Matthew McConaughey's a guy that she really likes, Tom Cruise, and she, I was really in love with that guy in high school. I really liked the guy. And I'll go, oh yeah, you're floating dick, huh? Yeah.
So it's funny.
That's
the ambiguous floating dick. It's like the sexual harassment panda.
So we saw a preview though during World War Z for a movie that's coming out that has Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey in it. It's like a Wall Street tycoon type thing about these like, I don't know, basically something about these like high-powered stockbrokers that have a ton of money and nothing better to do with their time than come up with goofy shit to spend it on or whatever. And she was like, "Oh my God, that's my ultimate fantasy." Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey in a movie, and I was like, "Oh, two floating dicks," So,
motherfucker. Tim wouldn't go see Heat because Tim doesn't think girls are funny.
I agree.
He's sexist.
The only movie that I liked was actually the most recent chick flick was what's the one where they start singing? I can't even think of it. It's like a sing along one.
A musical?
No, it was a kind of like a chick flick comedy.
Rockstar. No, the one with the rock one, right?
It's like the girls does like mashups. It's like a college movie, and then they do like a sing off.
Oh, they do
mash up the place.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the whatever that rock one with Tom Cruise. That was kind of
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages. That's what I thought you were talking about. Sorry.
Wait, Jamie's back, right? Jamie, are you there? Oh no,
and she's muted. You're not muted, SurfWife.
SurfWife.
Oh, still muted.
Here we go.
There we go.
SurfWife.
It kicked me off.
What's the name of the recent chick flick with the sing off?
Pitch Perfect?
Pitch Perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's actually not a bad movie, and I actually really like the chubby
It's
girl
grown
in
on
it.
me.
What's the chubby girl? I think she's funny.
Oh, yeah. My students imitate her all the time because they think she's hilarious. I forget
my
her
name is
Daphne?
actually. It's like Fat Amy, and she's like, I lied
Oh,
to
isn't
you.
she the one that's like British or something like that?
Yeah.
She's also in
Yeah, I heard that was like
Bridesmaids.
a movie.
Yeah.
She's like, my name wasn't Fat Amy, it's actually Fat Patricia. Or
She
something.
was also in what? I'm
Right.
sorry?
Yeah, she was in the Girl Wedding Crashers or whatever.
Bridesmaids.
Yeah,
Oh, Bridesmaids. Okay.
Yeah, Bridesmaids.
Okay.
The chick
all
with the bad tattoo on her back and her on like her
Yeah.
side.
Right,
It's really
right.
effective.
Okay. Yeah, I remember because I saw a preview for the movie. So, my wife and I are finished with the first season of Breaking Bad as well. We started that one up, so that's good. We're going into season 2. That's a cool show, man.
It's a really good show.
First few episodes were a little. The first episode was good, and the next 2 were a little slow. It's almost like they were getting their footing. Like, hey, we don't know if we're going to be canceled or not, and
You
maybe
get
they didn't
really
have a great
depressed.
budget or whatever, But it's good so far. I enjoy it.
Are you
That's
on
good
two,
because
Cole?
now you're getting into it because I think in August they're going to start the last 8 episodes.
And that's why we got into it, because on Netflix they have the first 4 seasons, and then of course they're going to do a bunch of different marathons leading up to, I think, every Friday or something. They're showing a bunch of episodes between now and when the premiere is of that second half of the final season or whatever, like you were talking, Sean. And so we want to have it done by then. So we're just trying to, and they're only, I think the first season was only 6 or 7 episodes, and then the next 3 that are on Netflix are at like 12 or 13 episodes. So we'll be able to burn through it pretty quick.
We haven't watched that show yet. We've heard a lot of good things about it, though.
It's really good.
I've been meaning to pick up on it for a while or so, and I've recommended it a couple times too. They're halfway through their 3rd season now on TNT. Is that Falling Skies? So if you guys get a chance, take a look at that. I think the first couple seasons may be on Netflix. They're only 10 episodes, each season, but
Yeah.
alien invasion, the 99% of the population is pretty much wiped out. What's left that hasn't been, harnessed or whatever by the aliens is pretty much resistance fighting. Takes place a couple years after it, and pretty much has that Walking Dead, Jericho, whatever, end of the world type feel to it, and it's real good. So
Yeah. There's a new show on USA called Graceland. I like that one a lot. I think it's in its 4th episode or something like that.
I have not seen that yet, but I did see previews for it, and
It's good.
I'm
I
wondering
enjoy
if it was
it.
any good.
I'm trying to get Surf into it, but he's like, we gotta finish watching Lost before we can start another series.
Oh my god.
Yeah, where are you guys at on that now? Are you guys in the?
We're so close to the end.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
well,
we're in,
worth
like-
watching past the 2nd season because everyone tells me no, and I just had a dead stop.
it is. I mean,
enjoyed
overall,
it.
it was a fun experience. I think it was one of those that, for me, like I've mentioned before, after the first season, we watched every episode as they came out. So we had to wait, the
Right.
8-week break in between, November and January, February, when they would do the second half of the season. And, we would have to deal with that waiting game. And what happened is they had so many plot threads that were put out there that I just felt like a lot of them weren't resolved at the end of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, too, may have been that they were resolved and tied up, but I just kind of lost track of things because I watched it in such a spaced out period of time, So
Well, and
that's
towards
one of
the
them that I'm
end,
meaning to go back and watch all 6 seasons, in like
Yeah.
a 2 or 3 month period of time, and then see if my opinion differs,
Right.
Where are you,
I mean,
Jamie?
what's that?
What season are you on?
We're in the last season. I think like episode 8 or 9. I mean,
Yeah,
it gets
that's where starts to
it
get
gets
weird.
a little hokey towards the end.
It does,
know.
yeah, because it starts out, on the first season, on the island and everything, it starts out with all this kind of mystical type feel to it, and what's this
Yeah.
and what's that, and then by the
There's
end,
a lot of
it's getting
unknowns.
and then by the end, though, it's kind of getting into this, heaven and hell and good and evil, and
Yeah.
is it reality or is it limbo? Is it a real
Right.
world? Is it, and that's without giving anything away. That's just,
It's
I'm
kinda
sure you've
a little
seen things
goofy.
like that.
Well,
So,
I mean, I
it
already
was
had
good,
this-
though.
I already
Yeah.
spoiler. I realized all the they're in purgatory and they got off the island. They went back on the island. I know all that stuff already. So, I mean,
Don't give
Yeah,
any spoilers because
Yeah,
Surf will get
and,
really
and
pissed.
actually, that's not really true. So that's good. That's what you
well,
think.
yeah, that's just what I heard. But yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully it's not true.
Yeah, no, that's not really it. That was one of the theories that was going around for it. Was is it one of those things, I forget
Just
what
over the
name
button
of-
thing. The button thing was pissing me off. It's like, all right,
Oh,
get it.
that-
Like, there's 8 episodes of fucking buttons. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like that show.
huge
I think it
focus.
was back in the '80s. I think it was called Saint Elmo's Fire or whatever. And it was this whole show that took place over a few years. And at the end of it, they went and they zoomed out, and it was basically like it took place in like a snow globe. So it was basically
Yes.
like this wasn't real, you know.
I
It wasn't
remember
a fantasy.
that.
And I remember a lot of people were pissed about that, and a
You're
lot
like,
of people
"What?"
thought that was the way that Lost was going, you know. And
Okay.
yeah, I don't think it has. Another one that I've been meaning to check out is that Under the Dome, based off the Stephen King book. Yeah,
Oh,
has
wow.
anybody had a chance to see that yet? I know it premiered a couple weeks ago, and I didn't catch it right away on
Is
the
it a TV
DVR. It is a TV series that
I
they're
know Surf
making.
read the book, but I don't.
And I don't know if it's plotted as like a just a mini series or a one season type series where it has a beginning, middle, and end. I'm not really sure. I just usually try to take a look at, for better or worse, you know, things that wind up being adapted from Stephen King books, just because I'm a big fan, you know.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of the stuff that's come out has been dog shit though too.
What channel is it on? Do you know?
You know, it's one of the. It's like an ABC, NBC,
Okay.
you know, one of those type of deals. So
They
it's,
find a way to ruin anything, though.
yeah, that is true. So I got Spielberg supposed to be slapping his name on the Halo series, on a Halo TV series.
Really?
They announced that at E3. And unfortunately, though, just like with Transformers, Spielberg didn't have a hand in Transformers. He just goes and he gets paid a few $1 million to go and slap the executive producer, you know, name on it. And, you know, he maybe stops by the set and has coffee one day during filming, but he doesn't do shit. Michael Bay does what he does, and, you know, the actors and the writers and everything just has no hand in it whatsoever. And he's kind of admitted that, too, you know, his name gets put on a lot of things, and he doesn't say it's for monetary purposes, but we all know that's what it is, you
It's a
know.
bunch of BS.
Well, it's like Terra Nova. I mean, he kind of helped out, but I mean that show I loved, and I'm kind of pissed they were like expecting too much of it, and then they just cut it.
You know, and it's such a shame though too, because I know that they really had a big special effects budget on that, but ultimately I think what killed that series is it was like the most uninteresting people on Earth. Like that family was just. It was a story that, you know, they wind up going back in time or to this other time or other Earth or whatever, and there's dinosaurs, right? And they're going to colonize it because this Earth is screwed up. So the whole premise is really cool, but ultimately it boils down to, by episode 2 or 3,
I hate my dad.
individual stories about the family, and it becomes a soap opera. That's okay to do on a show like The Walking Dead, as long as you make some action, you know, and some things that tie it all together. But all these different things that went out, yeah, exactly like you said, Tim. There was this big plot line at the beginning, and you're like, oh my God, there's other people, and what's going on? And, you know, you could see why the series didn't get picked up for another season, because we watched it as a family because the kids love dinosaurs. I got 2 kids that want to be paleontologists, and it was just something we picked up, watched the pilot, and enjoyed it, you know. And we watched it, and we just kind of saw it go off the rails. And by the end of the season, we were like, yeah, that one's probably not getting renewed, you know.
See, I was surprised. I was surprised they cut it, because I mean, I was like, okay, well, it's not the best, but there's so much other garbage out there. Like,
True.
I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but the fairy tale knockoffs, like Once Upon a Time and Grimm, I just don't get how that stays around.
I don't know either.
I enjoyed that. I watched like the first 2 seasons of Once Upon a Time, but like I think it was in its 2nd season this year, and I didn't really follow it a whole lot. I mean, I thought it was a cool concept, but I mean, I agree, it's kind of hard to, like, how are you going to drag that out for 5 or 6 seasons?
And ultimately, I mean, it comes down to money. It's budget. If they have a creative team that can do a lot with a little, and they're getting decent viewership in the time slot they're in, the show's going to go on. You know, if there's a good name behind it, or if there's really good marketing to put it out there. But if it's a show like that Terra Nova, I mean, it was just such a big budget thing and undertaking that there was times that you'd watch a whole episode and they didn't even show a dinosaur in it, because, I mean, they just didn't have the money. They blew all the budget on the episode before, you know, and you could tell. And then it got into, you know, it was like, okay, this is like repainted Nerf guns that the guys have as their laser guns and everything like that. And it was like, okay, now we're getting pretty bad, you know what I mean? It's like when my kids are like, oh my God, that's the Nerf N-Strike C70, it's just painted black. It's like, and then I'm looking at it, I pause the frame on the DVR, and I'm like, son of a bitch, it is, you know? So, you know,
funny.
but
I didn't even notice that. That's funny as hell.
it's a truth. I mean, go back and watch them. I think they probably got it on Netflix now, and you'll see. So,
That's funny.
oh,
Shit, man.
Lord.
Lord.
Lordy,
Miss-
lordy.
Mr. Big Blunts, who's a guy who's been following around for a while, said, Everclear, bitches. I know that number. And holy shit, are you talking about Lost?
Yeah, we were
Yes, we
talking
were.
about Lost for a while, and Everclear. Is he talking about the band or the alcohol?
The alcohol.
Oh, the band. I like
really,
the band.
Not really sure which one he's
Is
going
that
with there.
maybe he wants the whole band of Everclear to die?
Oh yeah, that could be as far as celebrities. Yeah, that's a good one. And then what about that number?
Maybe it's your number, 8675309.
Oh yeah.
8675309.
He said that he made that the chorus because I think the girl broke up with him and he wanted everyone.
He wanted everybody
to call her, yeah.
And then now, being the 2nd of July here, our next episode, of course, will be after the celebrating of our Independence Day here. What does everybody have planned for the 4th of July? Anything good?
Good question.
Shit. I think the actual 4th, we don't have anything going on, but the
or just a long weekend, for some, I guess.
I think we're going to take Bradley Boy to Tim's family's lot.
What?
Yeah. I'm just moving into your family. I'm taking your spot. I've been adopted.
Well, no, I know you're like the surrogate Tim, and then when I come into town, they're like,
oh,
you're like, okay, goodbye, real Tim, come back.
We went to Grammys, and I think it was so funny when my grandfather, the old man that you watch after, he was like, yeah, blah blah blah, and then she's like, oh yeah, like it's so nice to see the grandson helping out, and I'm just like, wow, I heard that. You're like helping.
Everyone thinks that I'm the grandson,
in the corner, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Everyone thinks I'm the grandson. Yeah, it's funny. I get that all the time.
No, it's good. It's good to have people. You and Tom have done a lot for my grandfather in my stead, and I know my brother is, as cool as he is at heart, he's a selfish little prick sometimes. He's openly admitted, like, when my mom or my dad get old, he's just like, hey, yeah, Tim's gonna deal with it.
Jeez.
I accept that role.
And, and to answer Mr. Big Blunt's question too, that is SurfWife. He asked if it was SurfWife. It is SurfWife.
Oh, me?
I actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name tag's gone.
For
because you dropped.
Yeah.
For my break, I was invited by my girlfriend's family. She's like, do you want to go? Obviously, it's in California, but she's like, do you want to go to like Catalina Island? And I'm like, me being from the Midwest, I'm like, what is that? She's like, Catalina Island. It's like huge. Like everyone knows about it. I'm like,
I don't know about it.
Really hard. I'm like, is that like Catalina wine mixers? Like from the Will Ferrell? That's the only way I could figure it out. But that's where I'm going for a day.
Nice.
Where is that? Is that in California, Tim, or?
It's some island off the coast of I think it's Newport or one of the beach cities. I forget.
Okay, yeah, because I'm dating myself here as far as how old I am. I remember Catalina being in the He-Man Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren from back in the 80s, and the main girl in there who was actually Courtney Cox in Friends. She started Friends as I forget what her name was. Monica. Yeah, it was escaping me for a minute. Anyway, she was in this movie with Dolph Lundgren, and her parents. The whole story was that her parents had died going on this plane crash going to Catalina Island, and that's the only thing I knew about that. It stuck in my head, So.
Yeah, it's somewhere in California. I don't know. I know where LA is. I know San Diego. I know San Francisco. I don't know where anything else is.
Didn't Taco Bell have Catalina tacos or something briefly?
Cantina, I think.
Cantina. Oh, I was thinking of Moe's Cantina. Moe's Cantina.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Spanish for like bar, right?
Moe's Cantina was that bar we went to in the city where it was like, could I have a Bud Light? And they're like, yeah, that'll be $18. I'm like, what?
That was
like
a really
ridiculous.
fun time.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I love
$40 for two drinks.
Not for your wallet.
Well, I don't think I was drinking much that night.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really big into like the big, loud, noisy bars. I'd rather have more chill bars where I can actually fucking hear people and there's not a
I like to
thousand TVs.
dance. Like when I feel like dancing, I like loud music and stuff like that.
It's almost like you should be a dance teacher or something.
Go figure.
Fuck guys tonight. I just want to dance.
I just want to party. Let's do some shot.
Oh, and also too, I guess it doesn't matter. We're at the end of the show over here, but my wife won Great America season passes because she called into B96 a few weeks ago, and never calls into a radio station, but she called in, she got on the air, and wound up winning these tickets. So which is really cool because we got.
I've seen your pictures. That's awesome. You guys. Have been there a couple
and
times
I haven't been
now,
there in like 12 years. Okay, so I haven't gone on like the Superman. I haven't gone on a lot of the newer ones, right? I think Raging Bull might have been the last one that I went on. So we went a couple weeks ago, and great time. The 6-year-old was old enough and tall enough to go on everything but Superman and like Batman. So he had a great time. Went on upside down roller coasters. And anyway, the point of the story is we also have the Hurricane Harbor passes, which is the water park that's attached to it, which we went to last week with all the kids. Great time. And anybody who this season or summer wants to come with, we can bring one guest in each time we come in with the season passes. So if anybody, and then we have a bunch of other like coupons they gave us too for like half off and all sort of nonsense.
What's it called? Hurricane what?
Hurricane Harbor. It's actually attached to Great America.
Oh, it sounds like a town in Kansas.
No, but I mean it's.
Sorry,
that's terrible. And I've never been because I don't swim. I haven't really gone to a lot of big water parks before. And I mean this shit is insane, man. I mean a couple of these like water slides we went on are just fucking absolutely nuts, man. I mean, the roller coasters in Great America, I got right back into. I acclimated myself with. I thought because I'm a little bit older now and a little more scared of dying that maybe they would bother me, but I actually didn't mind them. I got right back on with them. The only one that really bothered me was the Superman because it like tilts you forward and like you're hanging there, and I mean you just feel like, okay, you know what? If there was like a 400-pound guy in this harness like any time this week before me, like this thing may fail, because it's just this piece that's holding me here, But other than that, though, really, really, really fun time. So actually, that's something we were thinking about doing.
That's awesome. I'll have to take you up on that and actually go for one of those guest pass. It just occurred to me that my Hurricane Harbor joke actually didn't apply because Kansas is tornadoes, not hurricanes.
Yeah. It was funny. I was like, oh yeah, right.
Smoke another one, bro.
Probably more like a
I don't surf or like dubstep
bad taste.
Surf derf.
Anybody else? Sean, what about you? 4th of July plans? Anything good?
Extensive masturbating.
Oh, well.
No, my 4th of July is fantastic because my kids are in North Carolina this weekend, so I am free. It's nice to be free for a week. No kids, no responsibilities. I feel like I'm 18 again.
Prostitutes.
You missed them a little bit, though.
Yeah, well, the one sitting here now I've been paying for the last 2 hours, so I'm waiting for this to end.
You pay now. You pay now.
Well, she's gagged in there. She can't talk, so...
Yeah, you're waiting to give her the Harlem struggle.
Exactly.
Oh my god!
now that I know it, yeah.
Harlem struggle.
I figure I'd give her a Harlem struggle, then maybe later on a donkey punch. She's in for
top it off with a nigga flip.
Dude, that video is so funny. If anyone hasn't seen that, dude, that video is so funny.
I have not, but now I have something to do after
you need to wear gym
we're
shoes.
Done,
okay.
so.
This guy's wearing gym shoes, and he acrobatically flips this chick from one position to another, like suplexes her over his head. It happens so quick. All she has time for is to go, oh, and she's like in the next position. It's so funny how quickly he flips over.
They were like 69, like a standing 69. He does like a front flip, and then he's like eating her out, like as he's doing like a forward bend.
Dude, he did it so quick and so smooth, and he's totally naked, just wearing gym shoes. It's the funniest thing.
That's awesome. You can Google this video, I imagine.
Yeah, it's like a 15-second clip. It's actually hard to find now.
Oh,
Men in their porn.
No pun intended.
Yes,
it's
you guys
porn
in your
acrobatics.
porn. It's just so disgusting.
Well, no, I mean I see porn. I mean almost daily. But regardless of that, no, this actually sounds interesting.
Yeah,
you're looking it up right now.
Yeah.
The Harlem struggle is quite disturbing if you have a heart for women, like women that do porn.
So,
you gotta feel bad because one of the girls, it's a compilation, right? So it shows like 8 different girls, and like the last one, like legitimately like is fending for her life, and she comes up gasping for breath, crying, and you just kind of see 2 guys laughing at the cameraman, and the other guy just laughing.
And did you say
I hate to laugh because I'm not insensitive at all to that. It's how you explain it that I find comical.
Oh yeah, the explanation was the best. Where it's like, and she does or does not pass out, or whatever he said.
And how he said that, I'm just thinking.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like that's a warning on the label, So you may or may not pass out after doing this sexual position. Oh.
That's crazy stuff. All right, guys. Well, should we end it here? I think we should end it here, huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
All right, guys. Well, this has been episode 12 of Overdose. Thank you, Surfwife, for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
And
it's always nice having a chick on the show.
Oh yeah.
It's been real. Next week, I believe we have again Matt Gilman slated, and we'll keep you guys posted. And thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Happy
Bye,
4th of
folks.
July, everyone.
I could just find the button
Happy
to press.
4th.